Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto has shinigami powers in RWBY. Before I start, please support for more amazing content, and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Soul Embrace 2010 and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Unknown location in Vale, daytime, battle theme, DMC, Devil May Cry TGS 2010 trailer theme. A 17-year-old young man with a stick of Pocky in his mouth stared down at the creatures of Grimm who managed to sneak past the barrier of the city and made a nest in the abandoned backstreet area of the city. He has sun-blonde hair with red tips and silver-white fringes, electric ocean blue eyes, whisker marks on his cheeks, an athletic build under his clothing, and wearing his hunter outfit that consists of black assassin jacket over a black with orange trim zipper-up shirt, a Hittite with red cloth with the symbol of his mother's clan tied around his forehead, crimson bracelets, black fingerless gloves, black baggy cargo jeans with dual red and white magnum-like handguns, and crimson greave boots over blue shinobi shoe sandals, with a large sword on his back. The pack of Beowulfs circled the blonde, who looked at the pack with a bored expression, and grimaced amusingly as they started barking at him due to him holding one of their own in a headlock. Sucking the side of his tongue through his teeth and finishing off the Pocky stick in his mouth, he took out a tri-pronged kunai, jabbed it under the head of the captured Beowulf, and twisted it, gruesomely beheading it and inciting the rest of the pack. The blonde charged at the pack, taking out his handguns and danced around them, shooting them in their vital areas not covered by their bony armor that dropped them instantly in various, stylish ways before jumping over the last one, combining his handguns into a double-barrel magnum revolver and shooting it in the back of the neck, with the Beowulf dropping as he landed. Whipping around, he twirled the kunai in his finger and threw it at the roof of a building, appearing on it in a crimson flash and ran across it at high speed, spotting some more Beowulfs up ahead. At the end of the roof, he jumped straight between two buildings towards the last pack of Beowulfs in the area, shattering the windows as his bracelets became shot gauntlets, and dropped straight down, punching the ground and making the Beowulfs pop into the air from the shockwave. The blonde jumped after them, bounding off them after delivering melee attacks to each of them before grabbing his sword off this back and spun around, slicing through them and stabbing one in the gut. He brought to it and lashed out behind him with the Beowulf's body still skewered on the blade and slamming the Beowulf behind him into the ground, then slashed through another Beowulf, sending it and the skewered Beowulf crashing into a broken car. The blonde looked back at the remaining Beowulfs, who started a suicide charge upon the blonde. Wielding his sword in a reverse grip, he jumped high into the air in front of the sun, grinning as the sun blinded the Beowulfs, and he spun around like a twister, coming down upon them and tore them apart. Smirking, he flicked the blood off his and put it on his back, which stuck to him like a magnet. He then rolled his eyes and shot his hand back, with a chain coming out of his palm and hitting the surviving Beowulf square in the forehead. Creating a spiraling sphere of energy in his other hand, he yanked the Beowulf toward himself and destroyed it with the sphere. Dusting his hands off after the chain receded, he walked away as the Grimm evaporated into blood-red mist. I go by many names. Fish Cake, Kitsune, Trickster, Prankster, Meddling Kid, Pain in the Ass, Pervert, Maelstrom, Professional Ass Kicker, Devil Hunter, Huntsman. You see, I'm a huntsman, well, a huntsman in training that is, but it won't be long before I'm considered a full-fledged huntsman. I look forward to it. But it appears that I'm much more than a simple huntsman, much to my massive chagrin. Flashback no Jutsu, Elementia, Eastern Elemental Nations, Cave. 12 years ago, a man with a large red scythe on his back entered the cave cautiously, since he felt an immense surge of power that emanated from this location. He had come to the Eastern Elemental Nations, one half of an island country called Elementia, hidden in mist in the world of Remnant, to seek out his old rival Minato Namikaze to catch up on old times, and probably get a spar out of him. Unfortunately, upon entering his homeland of Konohagakure, he learned that he and his wife Kushina Uzumaki had perished 5 years ago during a fight with a powerful and terrible Bijou known as the Kyuubi no Kitsune. He then learned from the Saname Hokage that they had a son, and he has gone missing. The man, having a knack for getting people to spill their guts, made the old Hokage talk more, with the old man confessing about the abuse Naruto suffered from the village populace for being the Kyuubi Jinchuriki, among other things, and how he may had a hand in it. Furious with the Hokage for allowing the abuse happen, the man left Konoha completely disgusted, and vowed to save his rival's son. The man managed to track the young boy to a valley in the middle of the forest, when suddenly he felt a wave of energy from Naruto's location. Moving quickly, he found him in a cave where he is now 10 minutes later. The walls of the cave were painted with blood, with figures lying unmoving around the cave that wore the same attire, black robes with red clouds. In the middle of the eerie cave was a young woman with black hair, red eyes, and wearing a flowing black form-fitting kimono with white trims, holding a little blonde boy in her arms, with a blue-haired woman kneeling right next to her with her head down. You finally arrived, huntsman. Took you long enough, the young woman said in a soft, stern voice. With the speed you possess, I expected you to much sooner, Crow-san. The named Crow frowned at her. Who are you? How do you know who I am? I make it my business to learn all about the connections to the people those souls I have claimed to, like this little boy, she said, stroking the sleeping boy's cheek. I don't know about you, lady, But that doesn't sound friendly. Crow muttered and drew his scythe. Who are you to lay claim on my rival's son's soul? An immense pressure suddenly filled the cave, slamming both Crow and the woman down to the floor. Crow managed to lift his head far enough to be the pressure coming from the young woman, who looked amused. Would you believe me when I introduce myself as Shinigami, the goddess of life and death itself? The boy had my mark on him since birth to hold one of the most destructive forces this land has ever seen. That's what makes him mine. My avatar. My future bounty-hunting soul reaper. Shinigami declared and lifted the pressure. Him being an Uzumaki and carrying the blood of Sparta and the remnants of the first civilization is a bonus. But now, thanks to the Akatsuki. The Akatsuki? Crow groaned, getting up as Shinigami giggled. Those fools underestimated the Biju's power and willingness to work together to survive and not be slaves for power-hungry bigots like them, and they paid for it with their lives. One thing led to another, and now Naruto has truly become his namesake. A walking maelstrom. How? Crow questioned, now eyeing the woman that was struggling to get up. Because of the shock of being free from the remains of that statue, it forced the Biju to seal themselves inside his boy. But that lowly demon Zetsu tried to possess the boy afterwards to resurrect the demonic rabbit goddess, Kagaya Otsutsuki, by using his body that now houses the Biju. He failed of course after I sent him to hell, and now the boy here has the rabbit goddess within him too. Of course, I had to personally upgrade the seals so she can't influence him in any way. But now, Shinigami's expression suddenly became sad and solemn. But now what? Crow pressed her. He needs to get away from this place, and you're now his ticket out of these lands. As long as he remains in the borders of the elemental nations, hell even in the western lands, he'll continue to be targeted by those who want the Biju for their power all because they're too lazy to work for their own. He needs to be somewhere where no one knows about Biju or Jinchuriki. Can you do that, Crow-san? Crow looked at the goddess for a moment with a calculated gaze. What guarantee that someone from here won't come after him outside these lands? Everyone in these lands can't leave due to the mist surrounding the borders, nor can they get through the western lands because of the wall. So please take the boy and disappear with him. That way, him, the Biju, and Kagaya will be safe. Shinigami replied, with Crow nodding and looking at the woman. What about her? Unlike the others, she co-founded the Akatsuki with the purest intentions with her friends, so she deserves a second chance. I deserve no such thing. The woman mumbled sadly, just take me with you, Shinigami-sama. No, because the second chance is my punishment to you for not stopping pain and the Akatsuki sooner like you wanted. Shinigami countered, putting her hand on the woman and used her power to de-age her, much to hers and Crow's shock. Soon, the woman became a young girl, a few years older than little Naruto. Don't squander this second chance, Kamihana Conan, or I'll make you regret it when you finally die, Shinigami said coolly as Conan looked at herself in shock, and frowned when she looked at the entrance to the cave. Looks like we have company coming. Time to disappear. Before Crow and Conan could say anything, Shinigami caught them in her power and teleported out of the cave, just as shinobi swarmed the cave. But the four were long gone. That's right, I was born in the elemental nations of Elementia, a hidden continent on Remnant, a place alongside the western lands where ordinary humans use chakra to be shinobi, samurai, monks, you name it. And it's all thanks to an idiot known as the Rakuta Sannin, Hagoromo Otsutsuki. I mean seriously, did he really believe that the power he granted the old generations was going to be used for connect with each other? 3 shinobi world wars and the continuous fighting in the western lands begged to differ ever since then. Good thing that dust never made it away into the continent. Flashback no Jutsu, Western Lands Port, 12 years ago. Hey, this is Crow said when the four reappeared at a large port. Where you first stepped foot to head to the elemental nations? Yes, Shinigami said, and gave the still sleeping blonde boy to Crow. The rest is up to you. I hope you do the right thing. Good luck. With that, Shinigami disappeared, leaving Crow, the little blonde, and the now younger Conan. What can I do now? Conan whispered to herself, but Crow heard her. Live, to atone for what you done, and redeem yourself. Crow told her and gestured for her to come with him as he started walking towards the ship he took. The only ship that can enter the mist of Elementia and back. Only a handful of people like Crow knew about it, and the captain of the ship likes it that way. Conan looked at the huntsman's retreating back, then behind herself, as if looking at the direction of the elemental nations, and then chased after Crow with the boy to the start of her new life. One thing led to other, and here I am, not only the descendant of the Dark Knight Sparta and the people of the first civilization, but I have 10 grumpy but fluffy Biju, along with an irritable goddess, sealed within me. Now I know what you're thinking. Does this make me the most powerful being in the world? A walking god in human form? Let's just say that I'm not the type to flaunt that type of power around, especially since I'm a huntsman. I prefer to be challenged and pushed to my limits instead of ending things in one turn. Where's the fun in the latter? I may hold back, but I'm still the toughest SOB around. My childhood in Konoha and training at Signal Academy can attest to that. Don't believe me? You can ask the criminal organization looking to take over Vale with whatever they're planning. The club, present day. I told you and your lady friend that I have no interest in joining her little band of misfits, no matter how hot she is. The young man was seated at the bar, nearly finished with a large supreme pizza he ordered several minutes ago. He's a recent graduate of Patch Island's Signal Academy, who was recently accepted into the Kingdom of Vale's legendary, premier school facility for huntsmen and huntresses, Beacon Academy, and has come a long way since arriving on the island of Patch. But that's a story for a later time, as he sipped on a bottle of ginger ale to wash down his pizza, annoying at his current guest at the moment. A guest he helped the authorities put behind bars a couple years ago. Are you sure that's your final answer, kid? The man with orange hair wearing a black bull hat and a white suit and holding a cane asked, leaning over him, but jumped back when his quarry flared his aura momentarily. Yes, I'm pretty sure. Be thankful I'm in no mood to capture you. I don't want to have to pay for the damages I might cause kicking your ass all over this club. I've caused Junior and the lovely twins enough problems. Now get out of my sight, Roman Torchwick. Hey, your funeral, fish cake. Neil will be sad to know you've declined, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Naruto gave him the finger in response as he left, and downed the rest of his pizza. Looking over this shoulder, he saw Roman finishing conversing with the owner of the club, Junior, and leaving. After a while, Naruto downed the ginger ale as well, paid for his meal, and started to leave. Near the exit, she walked past a busted blonde-haired girl with violet eyes and wearing a brown and yellow biker-like outfit. It's his surrogate sister, Yang Xiaolong. Hey, Whiskers. Is he here? Junior, I mean. Yang asked with a grin, as they got close. It's his home base, so of course. Don't make a mess. Naruto replied when they passed each other. Heh, no promises. Yang said with a grin, albeit a bit darkly. Somehow I knew you were gonna say that. Naruto said as he put on his sunglasses. Flashback no Jutsu. The island of Patch, nighttime, 12 years ago. Where are we, Crow-san? Conan asked when they disembarked off the ship. The island of Patch. Because of my job as a huntsman, I won't be able to take you two with me. Crow said as he looked back at the kids, with Conan now carrying Naruto. At first, Naruto was scared due to being taken out of Konoha by those guys with the red cloud robes, but Conan was there for him. He barely recognized her as one of the ones who was with the group that kidnapped him, and was a bit afraid of her as well, but despite that, she calmed him down and explained what happened, and that she's changed. After a familiar voice in his head told him that she wasn't lying, he finally calmed down. Now he was looking forward to the world outside the elemental nations, and got along with Crow quite well. Where will we stay then? Your relatives? Conan asked, with Crow nodding. Something like that. Crow responded as they followed him into the woods. After a while Crow suddenly froze and his eyes twitched. What's wrong? Conan asked, but Crow didn't respond and suddenly disappeared into the woods. Where is he going? Naruto asked as Conan looked confused before her shinobi senses warned her that someone was in danger. Holding Naruto close, she sped after Crow, noticing that her shinobi skills haven't dulled, but due to her new body, she had to be careful, since her young body wasn't used to the things her adult body did. That and she was careful not to let go of Naruto. When they arrived, they saw Crow sheathing his scythe after slicing through 3 black wolf-like creatures that went after a blonde-haired girl and a dark red-haired girl, both around Naruto's age. What are these things? Conan asked, never seen creatures like these before now. The creatures of Grim Crow said gravely as Naruto went over to the blonde and the dark redhead, who were severely shaken and terrified. Naruto didn't know what to do, but could think of only one thing to comfort them, and that was to hug them. The girls' shaking stopped, and while they didn't know who the blonde boy is, they felt safe in his arms. She must have been looking for signs of her mother, Crow thought as he eyed the blonde girl. She did used to come to this shack a lot before she disappeared. What kind of world is this? Conan wondered silently as she looked around. I'll explain on the way back home. Come. Crow said, the kids complying as they left the area, with Naruto looking back at the remains of the creatures called Grim. Present day. When Naruto first met Yang, she took her sister Ruby with her to follow up on a lead to find her mother, who left her and her father after her birth. They found nothing, and were nearly dinner for the Beowulfs that attacked them until Crow saved them. Yan was ashamed of herself for her actions that nearby got her and Ruby killed, and resolved to continue searching for her mother, but not let the search consume her like before. But boy did Naruto feel sorry for Junior now. He better hope that he has the information that Yan wants, since people say he knows everything, or he'll be up Pooper's cheek without a paddle. With that thought, Naruto looked back and grinned upon seeing Yang beginning her interrogation of Junior as he exited the club. Streets of Vale, nighttime. Naruto passed Bumblebee, Yang's yellow motorcycle, and headed down the street. Minutes later, he stopped when he sensed 2 hostile presences targeting him. Let me guess. Since I refused Cinder's offer every single week, she sent the 2 of you to take me out. Which means Naruto started taking off his guitar case and kicking it open. Whatever she's planning is about to be executed soon, and she sees me as a threat to them because of my skills and accomplishments. That about sums it up, right? A young man then walked out from behind a corner in front of Naruto in response, with gray eyes and slicked back hair, and wearing a gray and black outfit with armor on his arms and gray metal boots / shot greaves similar to Naruto's own. Guess that save us the trouble of an explanation. Mercury Black commented, smiling dangerously under the street lamp. That is does. Since you're here, Emerald is as well. No doubt she's hiding in the shadows to catch me off guard. Don't worry about it. Emerald's off pickpocketing as usual. It's just you and moi. You really think I'm that stupid? I thought you learned the painful way the last time I caught you in a lie. I've been a fantastic liar since then. Mercury countered, but Naruto's look told him that he was not buying it. I guess still not now when it comes to you. Naruto snorted, and stomped on his guitar case, making a sword flip out of it from the case and into his hand, and raised it behind himself to block an incoming strike from above. Mercury took advantage and tried to kick him, but Naruto hopped up and dropkicked Mercury's incoming foot, with their greaves firing at each other that propelled Naruto away and making Mercury stagger backwards. Nice try, Naruto said, putting his sword on his shoulder as Emerald Sustrai landed next to Mercury. She has light green hair, dark red eyes, medium brown skin, and wearing an intricate, exotic-looking white and dark green outfit. This won't be like the last time, Namikaze. She growled at him, making him laugh. Me, Naruto pointed at himself. Red Queen, he patted his shoulder with his sword. Thorn and Petal, he patted his white and red dual double-barrel revolver magnums on his thighs. And Trickster, his bracelets turned into shot gauntlet as he rubbed the ground with his activated shot greaves. All disagrees. As well as the pranks I executed on you when you first came after me, Emerald. Mercury snickered at the last part. I have to admit, what you did to her was funny. Stuff it, windbag. Emerald yelled, shaking her fist at Mercury. Naruto sighed and inspected his sword, Red Queen. Inspired by Ruby creating her own weapon Crescent Rose, he created Red Queen, a combination of a rifle and a sword. Its hilt is black with a twistable handle, a red base that houses cartridge for dust bullets, and its blade is grayish-silver. Pressing the hilt trigger, he changed it from its compact form to its battle form, the battle opening up to reveal black lines, expanding the blade and the hilt, with a barrel coming out of the base and lining itself against the back of the blade, the weapon being a little bigger than Ruby's Crescent Rose. Battle theme. Dante's Office 7 Hell's Battle from Devil May Cry 3. Alright then, Naruto interrupted the duo by slamming the blade on the ground and cracked his knuckles. So who's first? Mercury and Emerald looked at each other. Ladies first. Mercury offered, gesturing to Naruto like a gentleman. Oh, screw you, Mercury. Emerald growled at her partner as she took out her weapons, dual pistols with long, curved blades and jungle green grips, and charged at Naruto. Naruto jerked Red Queen out of the ground and blocked Emerald's incoming strike. Emerald attempted to shoot the multicolored blonde in the head, but he moved his head to the side and pushed her back. He then rushed forward and attacked her with alternating sword strikes and kick strikes. Emerald was put on the defense, managing to block the sword strikes but got tagged by Naruto's kicks. His trickster shot greaves, giving his strikes an extra kick, no pun intended. Emerald went for a wild stab, but Naruto moved at the last second, using his high speed to get behind her and push the back of her head, causing her to trip up. Round 1, Naruto. Naruto said in a fake old Asian man accent, dropping into a mocking praying bow. He then backflipped when Mercury tried to land a hit on his back and landed behind him. Mercury whipped around and tried to hit Naruto with taekwondo kicks, with Naruto either dodging them or parrying with his own kicks. Naruto then started to mirror Mercury's kick strikes, only this time add a little more strength to them, with Mercury's legs starting to get a little sore and numb, causing his to slow down a tad. Naruto then grappled Mercury's incoming leg, propped it on his shoulder, and hit a leg stunner on it. Gah! Mercury gritted his teeth in pain, and was promptly booted in the face, sending him back. Emerald jumped over Mercury's sailing body and continued her assault on Naruto. She put a little more effort into her attacks, trying to maneuver around his defense so she could get a clear shot and end this quickly. Just when she was about to exploit an opening, the sole of his trickster shot greave met the underside of her chin, sending her soaring into the air. Naruto jumped after the stunned greenette and unleashed the roulette spinning slash before slamming her back down to earth with an axe kick followed by a double foot stomp. On the way down, Naruto then added insult to injury with a flaming flash kick when she tried to get up, sending her flipping into the air before she hit a building. Without looking, he took out Thorn and Petal and fired at a charging Mercury, who came in with a dropkick, the bullets bouncing off his metal greaves. Naruto then put away his guns and lashed out with a high roller upward swing, making Mercury flip, who used the momentum to hit Naruto with a blast from his trickster shot greaves. But Naruto saw it coming and brought his blade down, knocking the greaves down while firing the rifle part of Red Queen, knocking Mercury back. Naruto then twisted the handle on Red Queen, revving the blade so it can absorb the dust stored within the base of Red Queen to increase the heat of the blade. He then whipped around and used EX Streak horizontal slash on an incoming Emerald, leaving flames in its wake as the blade sliced through her weapons like a hot knife through butter, and super kicked her in the face with his shot greaves, dazing her, with Naruto finishing her off with an inverted stomp face breaker with a blast from his trickster shot greaves, incapacitating her. Emerald, twirling Red Queen around, he twisted around and executed EX Stinger Sword Stab to intercept Mercury's attack, but it was a feint, with the gray head thinking he finally made Naruto slip up, but on the contrary, Naruto punched his real attack with the trickster shot gauntlet, damaging his greaves, and stabbed his other greaves, destroying them. Before Mercury could register his shock, Naruto delivered a devastating shot to his stomach, bringing him to his knees, with Naruto finishing him with a curb stomp he called the Blackout, slamming his face into the street with the force of Trickster, taking him out as well. Naruto then finished them off with a Kanatsu sword pressure, slash, the wind pressure sending the two assassins crashing into a building. You two are gotten much better, I will admit. But against someone like me, you haven't got a chance in hell, Naruto told them, hearing them crash to the ground and groaning in pain as he got his guitar case, housed Red Queen back inside after converting it back to its compact form, and put it on his back. You were lucky I held back. But you won't be lucky again if you continue fucking with me. Tell Cinder I said hi, and thanks but no thanks. Getting his cell scroll out, he tapped a few buttons and waited. Soon, his own motorcycle, Cyclone, came rolling around the corner as Naruto put his scroll away. After a mock salute to his fallen opponents, he got on Cyclone and rode off into the night. Along the way as he rolled onto a bridge with water on all sides, Yang rode up next to him on Bumblebee, with a girl wearing red and black in the style of Little Red Riding Hood holding onto her. Yo, Yang! Naruto called out as they rode next to each other. Junior got what you wanted? Unfortunately, no. Guess he doesn't know everything like everyone says, Yang replied in her usual cheerful attitude, but Naruto noted the bitterness in it. Back to square one, I guess. Don't worry, Yang. You'll find her, Naruto assured her, putting a hand on her shoulder. Where were you, Ruby? I was in the area. Ruby shouted over the wind, saw Yang punch Junior out of the club. Naruto sighed. So much for Yang not making a mess. Welp. At least we have Beacon to look forward to, Yang said smiling. Are you sure you're ready, Ruby? I can't wait. Ruby squealed. How about you, Whiskers? Yang asked their surrogate brother with a wink. What can I say? It's gonna be one hell of a party soon, Naruto replied as they raced down the highway bridge. I'm the son of Minato Namikaze, the Yellow Flash, and Kushina Uzumaki, the Red Death. My surrogate family includes my dusty old Uncle Crow, my surrogate pops Taiyang Xiaolong, and his daughters, and my surrogate sisters, Ruby Rose and Yang Xiaolong. I am the Jinchuriki of the Ten Bijou and Kagaya Otsutsuki, and my ancestors are the well-known Dark Knight Sparta, and the remnants of the first civilization. My name is Naruto. This is my story. Fishcake / Maelstrom Trailer End. Chapter 01, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Naruto's Mindscape. Naruto's Mindscape used to be a dark sewer representing Naruto's despair during his life in Konoha. Now it changed to suit him, the Bijou, and the goddess living within him. It is a large area with a forest containing trees, with the main area being a small lake with a few stones around it. It was also filled with wildlife, with the animals representing their Bijou counterpart. Right now, Naruto was sitting in front of the lake, and he was not alone. You're coming along nicely, Naruto-kun. Shini Naruto groaned, as he was used to these visits ever since he was 5 years old. Shinigami, the one who has a claim to his soul once he dies, a fact he learned during his first night in Patch. Ever since then, she's been visiting him periodically when she could, and occasionally dropped off scrolls of jutsu related to his parents. Not only that, she also made sure that he and the Bijou inside him got along nicely, and contributed to his development. Now lately whenever she visited, her outfit wasn't very conservative, as she took to showing her cleavage from her G-cup bust and some smooth skin to tease Naruto. Flirting with my descendant as usual, Shinigami-sama? Shini turned towards the newcomer and stuck her tongue out at the woman interrupting her alone time with Naruto. She's a woman of medium height with extremely long, sweeping hair that touched the ground, white pupilless eyes with a third eye that vertically closed on her forehead, fair skin, delicate facial features with two horn-like protrusions which stuck out from her head and her eyebrows cut short, with a dark shade of lipstick on her lips and a dark shade of nail polish on her long fingernails, and sporting a slender figure with a large D-cup bust hidden behind a flowing, transitional high-collared princess kimono that adorned with intricate lines and tomo running down the center and edge of the gown, and wide sleeves. Someone has to sense a certain grouchy rabbit goddess who's still a little hostile to her container. Otsutsuki Kagaya-chan. Shini replied with said goddess growling. I'm not hostile. At least not anymore since he's proved himself to not be like the other power-hungry men in this world. Kagaya countered. I do have you to thank for that when you're not giving me nightmares, Kagaya. Naruto said, feeling Shini's hand stiffened. That's funny. It sounds like you implied that Kagaya here gave you nightmares. Shini said slowly, looking at Kagaya, who started to back away. At first. But I was wrong to do so. I regret it ever since I took a walk through your memories. Kagaya said quickly as Shini stood up and advanced on Kagaya. Yeah, 3 years later. Naruto stated, materializing a stick of Pocky and started munching on it, the longest period in recorded history. What followed later were the sounds of Shini beating the crap out of Kagaya, who couldn't use her powers to aid her due to them being tightly sealed by Shini and enforced by her sister Kami in secret. Did you have to tell her? A voice asked behind Naruto and sat down next to him. Kagaya needs to stop treating me like an idiot. She and the others taught me how not to be one. Who why treat me like an idiot? Naruto commented, looking at his newest companion to his right. She was a beautiful, fair-skinned buxom young woman standing at 5 foot 8 feet tall with long silver hair with black streaks that reached down her back with blunt bangs and a single hair strand sticking out from the top like a hogue, with her long hair tied into 10 low ponytails. Reddish-purple eyes with 3 concentric rings and 9 tomo with 3 on each ring, has a pretty heart-shaped face with pointed ears, large voluptuous J-cup breasts, long toned legs, and wearing a classic white and blue Sailor Fuku outfit she saw through Naruto's eyes when he was reading a manga, with 10 flowing tails waving behind her, because she feels like an idiot herself for letting herself get out of control after eating that chakra fruit, and takes it out on others. The 10-tailed Jubi, Yoko Kagura replied. When is she going to realize that it was never her fault? It was Zetsu's when he possessed her to do those things after he killed her only beloved daughter, Naruto said as he threw a pebble that skipped across the lake. You'll have to try harder to convince her, Kagura said sadly, before grinning and nudging Naruto. When you and Yam are not playing at second base, that is. Hey, I respect Yang's decision on not going to third base yet. Either of us are ready to be parents yet. Besides, with the strongest beings tinkering with my body, no doubt my seed's really potent. Naruto protested, poking at Kagura as he said the last few words. Not really. I thought one of the others told you that you can mentally control the potency of your seed. Kagura said in mild surprise, with Naruto blinking. I think if anyone would tell me such a thing, it's either Kiyomi-chan or Kurami-chan, and I believe they neglected to inform me. Naruto stated flatly with Kagura laughing. It sounds like those foxy vixens wants to be your first time. Fitting since they've been with you since you were born. Well, Kiyomi that is. Kagura said thoughtfully. Where are they anyway? Naruto wondered, looking around. Both Kiyomi and Kurami are currently scratching each other's itches, if you know what I mean, if the noises in their den are anything to go by. Kagura said a little too brightly, making Naruto's sweat drop. Naruto! Why didn't you tell me about Kagura giving you nightmares? Shini called out as she dragged a battered Kagaya with her. Because I knew you would do that to her. The only reason I mentioned it is that her recent insult degraded my integrity, and compared me to those assholes from Konoha. Naruto replied as he glared at Kagaya. It must be that time of the month for her. Kagura guessed, with Kagaya throwing a dirty look at her before getting bonked on the head by Shini. Next time she's PMSing, just chuck her in a room with a sound barrier. Shini suggested, and bonked Kagaya on the head again, adding another lump to her head. Will do, right. Well, I better get back. More souls at my doorstep from either getting killed by Grim, or another casualty in the war in Elementia. See you again, Naruto-kun. Kagura, Shini said before teleporting out. I'd better get up now before either Yang or Ruby ambushes me in my bed again. Naruto said as he got up and stretched. Not that it's a bad thing, of course. Keep it in your pants, ya blonde baka. You and the others will be heading to Beacon tomorrow. Gotta be rested after all those continuous evening outings you took as a devil hunter. Yes, Mom. Naruto muttered sarcastically as faded away from his, leaving Kagura with a tick mark on her head. Smart ass. She said, shaking her head before clamping down on her ears when her sensitive ears picked up the noises of the QB girl's climax. Unknown location in Vale. Outside of a warehouse in Vale, on top of the roof parallel to it, was a young woman whose former kunoichi from Elementia turned huntress with a neutral expression on her face. She has blue hair that reaches down to her neck with a large light blue paper flower in her hair, amber eyes, a slender figure with an ample F-cup bust, and wearing a very long navy blue coat-like dress that split at the waist in front to show her navel, and a pair of black shorts with black thigh-high boots. Since leaving Elementia, Conan Kamahana took strides to adapt to her new life. She bonded with Naruto, who was weary of her at first, before beginning to get along with her. She even bonded with Ruby and Yang, and helped Taiyan out of his previous flunk and raise all three. She then enrolled at Signal Academy, and later Beacon Academy, refusing to let her skills go to waste, and along with her shinobi skills, became a full-fledged huntress. As a huntress with shinobi skills, she found killing the creatures of Grim easy, and she was well known as the Angel of Death, due to her habit of descending upon her targets in her Shikigami mode, using her paper Kekkai Genkai to form paper wings and barrage the enemy with said paper. Right now, she was after an organization that was threatening the peace of the 4 kingdoms of Remnant. It was a mission that was personal for her, for the rumored leader of this group was possibly her former partner in school. Not here, Conan muttered after her shadow clones dispelled. Oh well. She made the sheep hand seal and raised her hand, with paper flowing from her, and floated towards the warehouse. Shikigami no Mai, dance of the Shikigami. The sheets of paper then became razor sharp and circled around the warehouse, gathering speed until they formed a cyclone that tore through the warehouse like a hot knife through butter. Conan formed a few more hand seals, and seals with an exploding formula appeared on the paper. Blizzard of the Shikigami. The shredded warehouse was instantly peppered with explosions before being engulfed in a bigger explosion that quickly disappeared with a wave of Conan's hand. Forming her signature paper wings, she took flight to observe the damage she caused. The warehouse was totaled, and the people inside were bleeding from the paper cuts and burned from the explosion. There was just one detail that slightly surprised Conan. So, they started recruiting the White Fang to their cause after all. No doubt as expendable soldiers because of them being Faunus. Faunus. They are a race of humanoid people similar to humans, except for the fact that they possess and share certain physical traits with animals. However, they are discriminated against due to their one major conflict with the humans year ago, the Faunus Rights Revolution, an attempt by Faunus to gain rights by violence. While they were moderately successful, they're treated like animals or second-class citizens by some humans, meaning their fight for equality was far from over. And that's where the White Fang come in, as a radical political organization that was originally founded as a symbol of peace and unity between faunus and humans and a voice for the faunus. At first, they took nonviolent forms of protest against their treatment in the forms of mass rallies and boycotts against organizations that discriminated against the faunus, and while they swayed the minds of some humans, it was in the end a fruitless effort, and the facts that the Schnee Dust Company started a blood conflict with them due to their use of faunus as slaves didn't help either. 5 years ago, the first leader of the White Fang stepped down, and was replaced by a new leader that was the total opposite when it comes to methods to garner equal rights for the faunus. Now the organization was violent and aggressive, retaliating against everyone that treated faunus as lesser beings and slaves. And now they were starting to ally with those who wished to disrupt the peace, and possibly take over Remnant. They must have convinced them that they'll gain quality should they help. Fools, the lot of them. It's like dangling a carrot in front of a rabbit. They'll never get it, for they're nothing more than inexpensive pieces on a chessboard. Conan whispered, and looked out into the distance to see planes coming over. Figuring that she caused enough damage for one night, Conan disappeared in a flurry of paper. In another area of Vale, a while later, Naruto was heading to From Dusk Till Dawn, a dust where they, of course, sells dust in either its powdered or crystal forms, along with books, tools, cartridges, scales, etc. Why the hell do you need to head to the dust shop? You've stockpiled on enough dust to last a few months. Kagura said as Naruto walked up to the door of the store. Yeah, but I'm gunning for this hybrid element dust the Schnee Dust Company just produced, and see if it's compatible with my ladies. Naruto replied. Why must you men refer to weapons and objects as females? Kagaya muttered, they're inanimate. It's something that you wouldn't understand, Kagaya. Naruto replied as he entered the shop, only to be greeted by a surprising sight, as a customer whipped around at the sounds of the door opening. Oh, fish cake! What a surprise! Roman Torchwick said joyfully, while inwardly shocked that Naruto suddenly arrived during his heist. Definitely a surprise, Torchwick. Naruto agreed as he looked around, seeing the scared shopkeeper along with Junior's goons that were now Torchwick's henchmen. Stealing lean as always, I see. Nope, Roman replied and pointed the end of his cane cannon, melodic cudgel, at Naruto. Just us now. Why? You stole a hell of a lot of lean in the past. What's the matter? Don't have enough to buy some dust this time? Oh, trust me, I have more than enough lean to take years of permanent vacation time, but it's needed, as well as all this dust. For what? Naruto demanded as some of the henchmen pointed their weapons at him. Simple, my dear fish cake. Revolution. Roman said simply, unfortunately, you won't be around to see it. Boys, take H. Hey, hiya. One of the henchmen suddenly flew past them from an aisle. Roman frowned and calmly motions for another henchman to investigate what just happened. That voice, Naruto thought, recognizing it before grinning. What's the matter, Torchwick? Trouble already? Won't be trouble for long. Roman countered before firing a blast from his melodic cudgel at Naruto, who caught out Red Queen and blocked the blast, the force sending him crashing through the door and out into the street where he landed. Freeze! Gah! The henchman who went to investigate the disturbance was suddenly tackled out of the shop by a red blur that Naruto definitely recognized too well as it landed right to him. The cause of the blur was a cute 17-year-old girl with long black hair with a red tint that reaches down her back, silver eyes, pale white skin, a slender figure with teacup breasts, and wearing a black and red outfit consisting of a red cloak, a blouse, a corset, a frilly skirt, black stocking, and boots, with a belt that holds large cartridges and a magazine pouch for her personal weapon, transforming high-caliber sniper scythe named Crescent Rose, which now shifted to silent mode as she stood up next to Naruto. A little late night reading, Ruby? Naruto asked his youngest surrogate sister, as he rested Red Queen on his shoulder. Something like that, Naruto. Ruby Rose responded to her surrogate brother and hidden crush, smiling as she twirled Crescent Rose around, striking it into the ground before turning off her headphones she had on that was playing This Will Be the Day We Waited For. Okay, Roman deadpanned before looking at his remaining henchmen and motioned towards the duo. Get them. The henchman ran at Naruto and Ruby, the latter spinning around Crescent Rose and kicked the first henchman in the face. Another henchman tried to blindside her, but was smacked away by the flat side of Red Queen. Ruby then gets Crescent Rose out of the ground as Naruto ducks when she fires it off. It hit another one with the butt of Crescent Rose, sending them flying. Naruto targeted another one and proceeded to brutally dispatch him with a barrage of combos from Trickster, just as Ruby fires again and brings the side of Crescent Rose down on another henchman. Both Femera's students of Signal Academy then used their speed and the recoil of their weapons to dodge the incoming gunfire from the remaining henchmen until a yellow motorcycle suddenly pulled up and rammed them, sending some flying into the store and the others landing in a heap in front of Torchwick. Yang! Ruby squealed cheerfully as the owner of the motorcycle got off and surveyed the scene in front of her. She was a young girl with bright gold blonde hair that flowed down her back in a loose and messy manner with a few locks sticking out along with an ahogue, lilac-colored eyes, pale white skin, a curvy, athletic figure with large E-cup breasts, and wearing a tan with gold trim vest with puffy sleeves and black cuffs over a yellow low-cut crop top with her symbol on it, an orange scarf around her neck, fingerless gloves with her Ember Celica shot gauntlets active, black short shorts with a brown belt with a buckle and a pouch, a white symmetrical back skirt, and brown boots with orange socks of different lengths with a bandana wrapped around her left boot. You guys okay? Geez, why am I always the one late whenever you throw a party, Naruto? Yang Xiaolong asked, pouting. Don't look at me. They started it, Naruto said, jerking his thumb at Roman, who looked at the knocked-out henchman and shook his head in disappointment. You were worth every cent, truly you were. Roman noted before turning his attention to Naruto, Ruby, and Yang, dropping his cigar and crushing it with the barrel of melodic cudgel as police sirens were heard in the distance, red, yellow, and fish cake. I think we can all say it's been an eventful evening, and as much as I'd love to stick around, I'm afraid that this is where we part ways. He fired a red blast at them, and Yang countered by firing her own red blast at the attack to counter the incoming attack, making both attacks explode in midair and created a smokescreen. With a swipe of Red Queen using wind chakra, Naruto blew the smoke away to find that Roman wasn't there. He's gone! Yang exclaimed as they looked around. Not exactly. Ruby rebuked her and looked to a nearby building across the way. There she spotted Roman climbing off a ladder. Are you gonna be okay here, sir? Naruto asked the shopkeeper who was still hiding in the shop. The shopkeeper nodded quickly, and the trio set off after Roman. The criminal made it to roof and ran to the edge, with Naruto, Ruby, and Yang following close behind after using their weapon recoils to soar onto the roof. End of the line, Torchwick. Naruto called out as they cornered him, persistent. Roman muttered as they prepared to subdue him. But then, a VTOL, vertical takeoff and landing, tiltjet aircraft called a bullhead rose up from out of nowhere, and opened the hatch to let Roman jump inside. It's the end of the line for you and your ladies, fish cake, Roman declared after turning around and holding up a red dust gem. He threw it at the trio, with Naruto catching it while looking annoyed as Roman fired at them, aiming at the gem. Suddenly, another blur appeared in front of the former students of Signal and blocked the blast. Whoa-ho-ho-ho. Roman laughed, thinking that he got them until the smoke cleared, huh? Oh crap, Naruto groaned upon recognizing the one who blocked the attack he was about to counter. The figure is a middle-aged woman, has very light blonde hair tied back in a bun with a curl hanging down the right side of face, bright green eyes with thin rectangular glasses, pale white skin, teal earrings, a slender build, and wears a long-sleeved suit that exposes part of her chest and her cleavage, a purple cape, a black business skirt, and black boots with brown heels. Pushing up her glasses, Glinda Goodwitch waved her riding crop weapon and summoned several streaks of purple bolts at the bullhead, which rocked the craft upon impact. Naruto then joined in the fun and used the rifle part of Red Queen to fire at the craft too. Roman struggled to keep his footing in the back of the craft, and managed to enter the cockpit, where a woman in red was struggling with the controls. It's the Devil Hunter, and he's got a huntress with him, Roman said, with the woman quickly getting up headed towards the back as Roman took over the controls. Glinda's purple aura then outlined her body for a moment, and aimed another blast above the bullhorn, summoning a dark storm cloud right over the craft. With a flick of Glinda's crop, large jagged ice shards shot from the cloud and pummeled the craft, even breaking the cockpit, with one narrowly missing Roman's head. Naruto then frowned when he and the other saw a woman at the hangar door, her appearance hidden in shadow, but Naruto recognized the silhouette as the yellow outlines on the woman's red dress lit up. Oh double crap! It's Cinder Fall! Naruto thought in alarm, yet dumbfounded that Roman and Cinder appears to be working together, which doesn't mean anything good. Ruby! Yang, jump back now! What? Why? Ruby cried out as Cinder fired several bursts of energy at the group. Watch it! Yang shouted, pulling Ruby away as the blasts came towards them. Both Naruto and Glinda blocked the blasts, but Cinder raised her hand, with the area around the blonde glowing hot. They backflip out of the explosion that destroyed part of the roof, with Glinda telekinetically gathering the shards from Cinder's attack to create a large arrow and fired it at the bullhorn. Cinder shattered it with a few fiery blasts, but Glinda reformed it, but Roman moved the craft so it would hit the side of it. As Glinda reformed them into 3 arrows with snake-like moments to bind the craft, Naruto shot a chakra chain from the palm of his hand and latched it onto the craft. Get over here! He shouted as he pulled the bullhorn to the roof, but several glowing rings appeared around Cinder, who shot it out to expand and destroy the shards and the chains. Shit! Naruto took out Thorn and Petal and opened fire upon the craft, with Ruby joining in upon reverting her side into its rifle mode, and Yang as well, punching bolts of energy with her Ember Celica. Cinder managed to block very shot, and summoned several blazing circles beneath the group. Acting quickly, Naruto used chakra chains on Ruby and Yang to bring them to him, and used Shunshin to avoid the attack while Glinda forward-rolled herself away from the explosion. They then looked up to see the hatch close on the bullhorn as it flew away into the night sky, so Cinder employed Roman's services. What a pain! Naruto thought as he watched the craft disappear into the horizon. I can only hope that the White Fan won't get involved in any of this since they have their own problems. Who was that? Yang wondered as she joined Naruto. Just a couple pain in the asses. Naruto responded as Ruby suddenly went fangirl on Glinda. You're a huntress. The real deal. Can I have your autograph? Vale Police Department, Interrogation Room. A while later, Naruto, Ruby, and Yang were seated at a table underneath a bright light in a small, dark room. With Naruto looking peeved, Ruby was looking ashamed, and Yang was perfectly normal, with Glinda pacing around the table with scroll in the form of a tablet computer. Why is it when something happens, it's always you? Glinda asked Naruto in exasperation. I'm here, I'm there, hell I'm everywhere. I'm the Eggman. Naruto replied cheekily, with Ruby and Yang failing to contain their giggling, but faltered when Glinda glared at them. Enough jokes, Mr. Devil Hunter. Not only have your actions tonight put others in danger, but your sister's here as well. Glinda snapped at him. Hey, I just happened to be shopping for dust when I found Torchwick there robbing the place blind of dust. Honestly, I wasn't expecting that. Naruto snapped back. Besides, I was reading a magazine when they started it. Ruby protested childishly. I was just passing by during a joyride. I was there by chance. Yang added in her 2 cents. Regardless, if it were up to me, you'd be sent home with a pat on the back. Naruto rolled his eyes while Ruby looked happy and Yang looked confused. And a slap on the wrist. She tried to slap the table with her crop, but Naruto caught it with her hand and narrowed his eyes at her. Since you're playing the role of a cop, are you charging us with anything or not? He asked, glaring at her. No. But there's someone here who would like to meet with you all, Glinda admitted a bit reluctantly, moving out of the doorway to reveal a man in green coming in with a mug of coffee and a plate of cookies. He is a middle-aged man with tousled gray hair, thin brown eyes with shaded glass spectacles, pale white skin, black eyebrows, and wears a dark green scarf with a small, purple, cross-shaped emblem on it, an unzipped black suit over a black buttoned vest with a green undershirt underneath, black trousers, shoes, and long, dark green pants. Ruby Rose, he said, leaning towards her to look at her face, you have silver eyes. Ruby stuttered, looking confused as question marks danced around Naruto and Yang's heads. Yang Xiaolong, I can see your mother in you. You know where she is? Yang asked, perking up. Sadly I don't. He admitted, with Yang looking downtrodden as the man then turned his attention to her fellow blonde, and finally Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. It's an honor to meet the famed devil hunter I keep hearing about. Likewise. Naruto said as they shook hands. Now then, on to business. Where do you three learn to do this? He asked as Glinda's tablet showed Naruto, Ruby, and Yang's fighting. Signal Academy. Ruby answered. They taught you to use one of the most dangerous weapons ever designed? The man asked skeptically. Of course. We designed them ourselves. Yang asked, showing off Ember Celica in its gauntlet mode. Some of us did have one teacher in particular through. Naruto said, looking at Ruby as he said this. The man put the cookies on the table in front of the trio, with Ruby immediately shoveling all of them in her mouth. It's just that I've seen one other side wielder of Ruby's skill before. A dusty old crow. That's Oyue uncle. Ruby mumbled through her full mouth, making Naruto smack her on the back of her head. That's our Uncle Crow. He's a teacher at Signal. He mostly took Ruby under his wing, and there are the results, Yang said, nodding towards the tablet that was repeating the footage of the fight. So I see. The man said as he sat down, and what are 3 islanders like yourselves doing at a school designed to train warriors? It's simple. I want to be a huntsman. They want to be huntresses. We all want to become hunters. We just graduated from Signal a few months ago, and all 3 of us passed the entrance exam to Beacon Academy, and received our acceptance letters a while afterwards. All 3 of us made a promise to become hunters together. Naruto explained with a grin. So you 3 want to slay monsters? The man inquired. And protect Remnant, and the forces that conspire against it. Yang replied. All in all, we're here to protect those who live in this time of peace. Naruto said. Yeah. I mean, we knows it's the job of the police, but huntsman and huntress, and just so much more romantic and exciting and cool and really, gosh, you know, Ruby ranted with growing enthusiasm. Naruto and Yang sweat dropped as Ruby flipped out at the last part, while the man and Glinda studied them for a spell. Do you 3 know exactly who I am? The man suddenly asked. You're Professor Ashbin. You're the headmaster at Beacon Academy. Naruto said as Yang managed to calm Ruby down. Ashbin smiled at them. Hello, nice to meet you. Naruto, Ruby, and Yang greeted him. So you're coming to my school? You bet. Ruby cheered. Our bags are packed and we're ready to go tomorrow. Yang declared with her own enthusiasm. What they said? Naruto agreed with a smirk. Ashbin grinned at Glinda, who looked disapproving and rolled her eyes before he turned back to the trio. Well, see you when you get there. Naruto, Ruby, and Yang nodded. Just curb your pranking when you get there, Mr. Namikaze. Glinda requested in a hint of pleading. No promises. Gotta keep everyone on their toes after all. Naruto said, with Glinda groaning. Ship inbound to Beacon Academy, the next day. You know, I honestly believed after what happened last night, that we nearly screw up our chance to attend Beacon, but it's not the case. Yang said happily as she hugged Naruto and Ruby close, crushing the air out of one of them. We managed to get off scot-free, and now together, we're going to Beacon. This is the best day ever. Please stop. Ruby groaned, gasping for air when Naruto got Yang to release them by poking her in her ticklish spot. I'd say last night went well. We foiled the robbery and managed to avoid trouble. We're off to a good start. Right, Ruby? Naruto said while clapping Ruby on her back. For me, it was nothing, really, Ruby mumbled. What do you mean? What we were caught up in was incredible. Everyone at Beacon's going to think we're the bee's knees. Yang told her baby sister. Hey, I don't want to be the bee's knees, okay? I don't want to be any kind of knees. I just want to be a normal girl with normal knees. Ruby protested. That ship sailed the moment we decided to become hunters. Where's this coming from anyway? I thought you of all people would be excited about this. Naruto commented. Of course I'm excited. Ruby sighed and scratched the back of her head. I don't want people to think I'm special, or anything. Ruby, Naruto said as Yang gave her sister a one-armed hug. But you are special. She assured her before hugging her close. To me that is. Yang. Ruby wailed as her face was pressed against Yang's breasts, her arms flailing. Naruto, help me. Sorry Ruby, but I heard it a crime to disrupt such beautiful sisterly bonding. Naruto said as he recorded the moment on his scroll. This continued on for several minutes until their attention is drawn to the news feed on VNN, Vale News Network, playing nearby. The robbery was led by nefarious criminal Roman Torchwick, who continues to evade authorities. If you have any information on his whereabouts, please contact the Vale Police Department. Back to you, Lisa. Thank you, Cyril. In other news, this Saturday's Fauna civil rights protest turned dark when members of the White Fang disrupted the ceremony until they were driven away by the huntress known as the Angel of Death. Despite that, the once peaceful organization has now disrupted. The news feed was suddenly cut off as a hologram of Glinda Goodwitch replaced it. Hello, and welcome to Beacon. My name is Glinda Goodwitch. You are among a privileged few who have received the honor of being selected to attend this prestigious academy. Our world is experiencing an incredible time of peace, and as future huntsmen and huntresses, it is your duty to uphold it. You have demonstrated the courage needed for such a task, and now it is our turn to provide you with the knowledge and the training to protect our world. As the hologram disappeared, everyone looked out the window to see the amazing view. Look, you can see signal from up here. Ruby exclaimed as Naruto and Yang joined her as they looked down upon the town of Vale and the island of Patch in the far-off distance. I guess home isn't too far after all. Beacon's our home now. Yang said as Naruto put his arms around the girl's shoulders. And it's gonna be a hell of 4 years. Naruto added, with the girls nodding and leaning into him. The three then heard a passenger groaning and hunched over near the window, and then made a beeline to the back of the ship where the restrooms are. Well, I guess the view isn't for everyone. Yang commented as she rolled her eyes. It was a nice moment, while it lasted. Ruby said as Naruto discreetly stepped away from the two. I wonder who we're gonna meet. Ugh, I just hope they're better than Vomit Boy. Yang grumbled. Yeah, about that Yang. Vomit Boy threw up on you when he passed by. Naruto said, pointing at her boots. Eh? Oh, Yang, gross. There's puke on your shoe. Ruby shouted and jumped away from her. Gross, 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 gross. Get away. Get away from me. Get away from me. Get away from me. Get away from me. Naruto shook his head as Ruby tried to run away from Yang, who was just trying to go to the restroom to clean her footwear, and looked out the window to see Beacon Academy coming up in the distance. Despite everything that's happening with Roman Torchwick, Cinderfall, and the White Fang, Naruto was just looking forward to the next 4 years at Beacon. End of Chapter 1. Chapter 02. Welcome to Beacon Academy. Beacon Academy. Beacon Academy lies along the east edge of Vale, and has a wide river that runs through part of it. Airships, like the one that just landed in front of the main avenue, are used to transport new students to the academy. As soon as the dust ship landed, Naruto was about to step out of the ship when he suddenly sidestepped out of the way when the blonde boy who threw up on Yang earlier sped out of the ship and hunched over to the nearest trash can, losing his breakfast as Naruto, Ruby, and Yang passed him by. So, this is Beacon Academy. It looks bigger in person. Naruto mused as he and his surrogate siblings in the sight at his legendary hunter training facility, Beacon Academy. The view from Vale's got nothing on this. Yang said as other cadets disembarked the airship, with Ruby, going chibi form, suddenly squealing at certain equipment they're all carrying on their person. Oh my gosh, Naruto, sis! That kid's got a collapsible staff. And she's got a fire sword. She goes to scoot away to get a closer look, but both blondes pull her back, when turned her back to normal. Ow! Ow! Easy there, Ruby. They're only weapons. Yang chided her. Just weapons? They're an extension of ourselves. They're a part of us. Oh, they're so cool. Ruby swooned in excitement. Well, why can't you swoon over your own weapon? Aren't you happy with her? Naruto asked, making Ruby hug her red-side sniper weapon happily. Of course I'm happy with my baby crescent rose. I just really like seeing new ones. It's like meeting new people, but better. Ruby mumbled at the last part. Ruby, come on. Yang said, playfully pushing her sister's hood down. Why don't you try and make some new friends of your own like you did at Signal? But why would I need friends when I have you two? Ruby asked as she pulled her hood back down. You two are all I need here. Naruto and Yang looked at each other for a moment and sighed. Ruby may be the same age as them, but she was still acting like her shy, 15-year-old self that gets nervous at meeting new people, but gushes over their weapons. Not everything was sugar and rainbows at Signal Academy at times. Naruto has a feeling that Ruby's still feeling the effects of those incidents that got her the short end of the stick, such as bullying. Yang found out and would have killed them if Naruto hadn't held her back. Naruto, on the other hand, after finding out, humiliated and blackmailed them to keep them in line. Thankfully, they never passed Signal's final exam, so they won't be seeing them anytime soon. Ruby, think of Beacon as a fresh start. Sure, there are strangers here, and yes, there'll be some assholes, but there'll be friends among them that you have yet to make. Plus, one of those friends may be your future partner. Naruto said. Future partner? Ruby asked, confused. You'll find out soon enough. Naruto told her, having been informed by Conan about Beacon Academy's style of initiation, it's be fun. What is he talking about, Yang? Ruby asked her blonde sister, but unknown to her, Yang didn't know either, and she certainly didn't show it. Well, actually, my friends are here now, gataga catch up KKB. Yang said quickly as she rushed past her brother and sister to join a crowd of people that were heading up to the school. Yang! Naruto shouted and went after her, leaving Ruby spinning and dizzy-eyed from the sudden departure of Naruto and Yang. Wait, where are you going? Are we supposed to go to our dorms? Where are our dorms? Do we have dorms? I don't know what I'm doing, Ruby moaned, reeling as she fell backwards into a luggage cart, sending the luggage flying. Meanwhile, back with Naruto and Yang. Yang! Naruto caught up with Yang and pulled her by her scarf to get her to stop as the crowd she blended in with went on ahead. What was that about, leaving Ruby high and dry like that? You and all both know that words aren't enough to get Ruby to create new bonds here at Beacon. Yang countered, pointing at the direction where Ruby is. I'm not coddling Ruby here, but not everyone can swim once you've kicked them in the deep end of the pool. As for Ruby, there's a chance that she'll snap like all those previous times she came under pressure. The temper I inherited from my mom's been kind of a bad influence, Naruto replied flatly. Ruby will be fine. I think it's a good thing that she got your temper from you to defend herself. Besides, we're always nearby. Yang said with confidence. Yeah, when you're not ambushing me in a closet. Naruto countered back, with Yang gaining a flirtatious smirk. Don't act like you don't enjoy our private activities together, Whiskers. Yang said, licking her lips and getting into her fellow blonde's personal space. Touché, my little sun dragon. Naruto whispered in her ear after holding her close and stroke her hair, making Yang moan a little. While she hates her hair being touched or damaged, the only people in the world who are allowed to touch her hair beside herself are Naruto, Ruby, and their father. By the way, I snuck in your bed last night, and found myself in your little world again, where I heard an interesting conversation between you and Kagura. What's this about controlling your potency? She whispered back, with Naruto feeling her mischievous smile on her cheek as they touched. Geez, I gotta find out how you and Ruby managed to do that. And I was going to tell you, but Naruto began, but Yang put a finger to his lips. It's okay. All that matters is before you officially acquire a harem to restore your family's clans, I get first dibs, Yang declared, and Naruto blinked before realizing something. You went through my stuff and found my parents' will. Naruto said and scratched his head. What about your previous statement of saving yourself? I wasn't being serious at the time. As hunters, tomorrow's not promised, and I want to have pleasure in my life just in case. Yang ranted, but was stopped by Naruto. I'm going to stop you right there. I promise that I won't let anything happen to you or Ruby. Not while I still draw a breath. You and Ruby, along with Conan, Taiyang, and Crow are my family, and I won't let anything happen to it. Besides, we still have to find your mother, but don't even think or talk of dying before then. Naruto growled at her before kissing her full on the mouth, surprising her. Their tongue danced for several seconds before they pulled back to catch their breath. It wasn't their first time kissing each other, but kissing always returned Yang to normal whenever she started talking funny. You always know how to make a girl feel better. Especially me, Yang said, with Naruto giving her a foxy grin. Then, the moment was interrupted by a sudden explosion in the distance. That's where we left Ruby. Naruto noted as they looked back. I sense she's fine, and her life isn't in any danger, but I should go check. I'll see you both at the assembly. Yang said as Naruto used his speed to disappear. Leave a piece of whoever tried to blow Ruby up while you're at it. Moments ago, after Ruby fell into the cart full of luggage. What are you doing? An angry voice demanded as the owner of the voice stood over Ruby. It was a young girl who was Ruby's age, but a few inches shorter than her, with long white hair pulled back in an off-center ponytail shifted to the right, ice blue eyes with a crooked scar down her left eye, a pale white complexion, a slender figure with a C-cup dust, and wearing a pale blue bolero jacket with a snowflake symbol on the back over a thigh-length dress with a combat skirt, an apple-shaped necklace along with a pair of thin, rectangular earrings, white-heeled mid-calf wedge boots, and a small bag on the back of her dress. And right now, she was downright angry at Ruby knocking over her things, even if it was an accident. Sorry, Ruby said quickly as she got up and tried to help the girl's servants clean up the mess. Sorry? Do you have any idea of the damage you could have caused? Ruby didn't answer as she picked up a case and was about to put it back on the cart when the girl snatched it away from her. Give me that. This is dust, mined and purified from the Shni quarry, the girl said haughtily, opening it to reveal vials of twinkling dust. I can see that, Ruby started to say, but was interrupted by the girl. What are you, brain dead? The girl asked, apparently not hearing what Ruby just said as she out a vial of red dust and shut the case. Dust. Fire, water, lightning, energy. I know, the Ruby coughed as the red dust poured into her face due to the girl's shaking of the vial in her face. Are you even listening to me? Is any of this sinking in? What have you got to say for yourself? Because of the dust being senseless shaken in her face by the white-haired girl, Ruby let out an uncontrollable sneeze that reacted with the dust in her face, creating a huge explosion of flame, snowflakes, and electricity right onto the white-haired girl. With the vial she was holding sent flying and landing right at the feet of a girl their age, with everything coming full circle. The girl in question has long, wavy black hair with a black ribbon tied in the form of a bow, amber eyes that are slightly tilted upwards at the ends complemented by light purple eyeshadow, a light olive complexion like the other two girls, a slender figure with a D-cup bust, and wearing a black buttoned vest with coattails with a white sleeveless undershirt that exposes part of her midriff with white shorts. Connected to her shirt, a detached scarf-like collar around her neck, black ribbons on both her arms with a detached sleeve on her right arm and a silver band on her left wrist, black stockings with people fade at the end, and black low-heeled boots. She also has her weapon housed on her back. She picks it up and scowls upon noticing the Schnee Dust Company logo on the side as she reads from a book and looks over at the scene, where the white-haired, now covered in soot, was now going full-on alpha bitch mode, which was slowly starting to aggravate Ruby. Unbelievable! This is exactly the kind of thing I was talking about. The white-haired girl shrieked angrily as the soot on quickly disappeared. I'm really sorry. Ruby apologized, embarrassed, but Weiss continued to snap at her, causing her embarrassment to be overridden by anger. Ugh, you complete dolt! What are you even doing here? How can someone as clumsy as you get into a school of excellence like Beacon? This isn't your ordinary combat school. It's not just sparring and practice, you know. We're here to fight monsters, so watch where you're going. She said she was sorry. But then again, an apology is never enough for a rich brat like you. You haven't changed a bit, Weiss Schnee. The girl identified as Weiss flinched when he heard the familiar voice she hoped never ever hear again, and yelped when she saw Naruto. Naruto! Ruby squealed in joy at coming to her rescue before she snapped herself. Weiss screamed, pointing at Naruto in horror. You can't be here. Why are you here? Isn't it obvious? I'm a new student as well, just like you and Ruby. Naruto said as if commenting the weather, though I am surprised. Did that kidnapping attempt I rescued you from 5 years ago inspired you to become a huntress? That's none of your business, Namikaze. Weiss stuttered, trying to intimidate the blonde, was failing. Naruto, do you know her? Is she a princess? Ruby asked. Her? Hardly. Naruto scoffed. She's an heiress, actually. The black-haired spoke up as she approached the group. Weiss Schnee, heiress to the Schnee Dust Company, one of the largest producers of energy propellant in the world. Finally, some proper recognition. Weiss said smugly while Naruto shook his head. Wait for it. The same company infamous for its controversial labor forces and questionable business partners, ever since her father took the reins. The black-haired girl finished. There we go. Naruto said as Weiss got angry again while Ruby chuckled. So you gave up a cushy job back in Atlas to being honor back to the Schnee name after your pops smeared it to ground by escalating the conflict with the White Fang. But we shouldn't holding our breath since it's you. What's that supposed to mean? Weiss snarled as Naruto took to the bottle from the black-haired girl and examined it. You know what I mean. Winter once told me that you wanted to be a better person, but given your reaction with my sister here, you're failing. You continue on like this, and you'll still just be the annoying little rich bitch I had the misfortune of meeting when I saved your ass that day, Naruto said coldly as he crushed the vial of dust with his bare hands, infuriating Weiss. Wow, how dare you, the nerve of! Weiss shouted, getting in Naruto's face. Bring it. Naruto taunted as they butt heads, with Weiss getting the worst of it. Ugh! Weiss growled, holding her head as she stormed off. You certainly have a way of making friends, Naruto. Ruby noted before turning to the black-haired girl. So, what's... But the girl was already walking away from the pair. I really screwed up, didn't it? Ruby mumbled as she rubbed her hair. Never did. You just ran afoul of the wrong person. Naruto told her. I'll see you at the amphitheater. There's someone I want to catch up with. Don't worry, I'm sure you'll find a friend next time. Okay. Ruby said as Naruto left, and she collapsed backwards onto the ground. Welcome to Beacon. She remained on the ground for a time until a figure stood over her. Hey, I'm John. The figure said, offering his hand to Ruby. He is tall with messy blonde hair, dark blue eyes, a toned build, and wearing a black hoodie with a white chest plate and shoulder armor, brown wrist-length gloves with exposed fingertips and small metal plates, blue pants with a white patch on the left knee, a sword in a sheath strapped to his waist, and black shoes. Ruby. She responded, taking his hand and stood up, smiling. Aren't you the guy that threw up on the ship? Back with Naruto, he caught up with the black-haired girl. Kind of rude not to say hi to me back there, kitty cat. He called out to her. Why do you insist on calling me that? She asked in indignation. Why do you insist on wearing that bow? Hiding what you are will make it worse if someone find out and spills what you are. Naruto remarked as the girl's bow twitched. Not everyone is like you, Naruto. They're not as strong as you, especially me, the girl said sadly. But you are strong enough to be here at Beacon and not with Adam and the White Fang. Naruto pointed out as their eyes met. Flashback. in the forest of Forever Fall. Hello, Blake Belladonna. It's been some time since our last skirmish. Naruto greeted as he walked up to the black-haired girl sitting on a rock, waiting for someone. Naruto, what are you doing here? She asked, looking around with her hand on her weapon. Where's Adam? Don't worry, he's 5 minutes away. I thought this is perfect a chance to talk about what you and him are about to do. I don't know what you're talking about, Blake said nervously. Of course you don't, but one of your mooks sang like a canary when I got through with him. While I don't think much of the Schnee Dust Company in general thanks to its CEO, it's a different story when innocents get caught in the crossfire. What are you talking about? All we're doing is hitting them where it hurts by stealing their dust. The crew isn't our targets. Sure. Then why is your friend carrying a bunch of charges on his person? What dash? Your friends embrace the new ways of the White Fang, which has become a shadow of the organization you joined when you were a kitten. Continue on this path, and the blood of the innocent will be on your hands. Think about it. Adam maybe have changed, but he wouldn't do this. You're not going to stop us? I haven't received a contract to protect that train, and Mr. Schnee and I have a sour relationship just because I liberated some of his faunus labor while calling him less than scum. So by all means, go ahead. As for you, you have a chance for redemption. I just hope you make the right choice after this, kitty cat. Naruto left, leaving Blake to her thoughts until her partner arrived a minute later. Blake. It's time. Okay. Flashback and Beacon Academy, present time. I just had enough of their violent ways. The crewmen were not only human, there were faunus along them too, and Adam planned in sacrificing them to cover our escape. So I separated Adam and the dust from the passengers. I haven't seen him since, so this means you're out of the White Fang now. Naruto inquired as they entered the amphitheater in Beacon Academy that was filled to the brim with new students. As a renegade? Yes. They're sure to come after me, but I made sure that they won't find me here. Blake said. You've made the right choice, kitty cat. Naruto said, put a hand on her shoulder, but so you know, if you decide to defect back to the White Fang, we'll see how many of those 9 lives are left when I'm through with you. Capiche? You don't have to worry about that. Blake said as she brushed his hand off gently. I'll be dedicating my life to becoming a huntress. That's why I'm here. Blake walked off to a different section of the amphitheater, with Naruto watching her. Dat bell booty. Naruto thought, smirking as he looked at her rear until she disappeared into the crowd. Damn pervert. Kaguya suddenly growled in Naruto's mind. You're just jealous because I never compliment your ass. Naruto countered, and immediately cut off the connection when Kaguya stuttered in anger. Meanwhile, Ruby and John just arrived themselves. Ruby! Over here! I saved you a spot! Yang called out to her over the crowd's voices. Oh! Hey, I gotta go. See you after the ceremony. Ruby told her new friend and sprinted off after Yang, leaving John. Hey, wait. Ah, great. Where am I supposed to find another nice, quirky girl to talk to? John groaned as went to find a free spot, not knowing that he caught the attention of a redhead in Amazonian attire. How's your first day going, little sister? You mean since you and Naruto ditched me and I exploded? Yikes, meltdown already? No, I literally exploded a hole in front of the school. And there was some fire, and I think some ice? Are you being sarcastic? Ruby scoffed and went into a rant. I wish. I tripped over some crabby girl's luggage, and then she yelled at me while shaking that fire dust in my face, and then I sneezed, and then I exploded, and then she yelled at me again, and I felt really, really bad, but she wouldn't stop yelling at me, and I nearly lost it until Naruto came to dash. She was interrupted by a foreboding tone coming from Naruto's scroll when he came up to them. What's the Jaws grim ringtone for? Whiskered Yang asked as Naruto looked behind Ruby. Because a great white shark is coming up behind Ruby. What else? Naruto said simply, before a loud crash came from behind Ruby, making her jump back to reveal Weiss herself, who face-faulted at being caught and the latest insult uttered by Naruto. Oh God, it's her. Ruby wailed and jumped behind Naruto. Come to bother, Ruby? Don't you have anything better to do, like buying up a whole catalog? Naruto asked in amusement. Shut up. Weiss yelled while leaping up and pointed at Ruby. She's lucky we weren't blown off the side of the cliff. Oh my God, you really exploded, Nag said in mock shock as Ruby stepped out from behind Naruto. It was an accident. How many times do I have to say it? What's this? She asked when Weiss held up a pamphlet in her face titled Dust for Dummies and Other Inadequate Individuals with a picture of a man holding a dust crystal in his hand and a puzzled look on his face. The Schnee Dust Company is not responsible for. Hey. Naruto snatched the pamphlet out of her hands and crumbled it in his hand. You'll melt her brain with shit like this. Naruto said coldly as he burned it on his hands. Why don't you do what you failed to do before this and accept her apology, before I make you regret it? Weiss gritted her teeth as Naruto glared at the heiress. Look, it sounds like you guys just got off on the wrong foot. Why don't you start over and try to be friends? Okay, Yang said quickly in an attempt to diffuse the tension surrounding them. Yeah. Great idea, sis. Ruby agreed, wanting to diffuse the situation as well, and held out her hand to Weiss. Hello, Weiss. I'm Ruby. Wanna hang out? We can go shopping for school supplies. Yeah. And we can paint our nails and try on clothes and talk about cute boys, like tall, blonde, and scraggly over there, Weiss said sarcastically as she jabbed her thumb without turning around in the background at John, who perked up at the mention. Wow, really? Ruby asked with hope in her eyes, but faltered when Weiss' kind smile turned to a glare. No, she said plainly. And I had such high hopes for you. But I should have expected it from a spoiled little rich bitch like you who thinks she's better than everyone else, which you're not, by the way. Naruto's words struck a nerve in Weiss, who shook as her anger skyrocketed. She moved to strike Naruto, but Yang caught her by the wrist. You know, I thought I recognized you after I recalled Naruto telling me about you in passing. I thought he was exaggerating, Yang growled as her eyes turned red. I never exaggerate. But he wasn't. If you have nothing positive to say to us, then shut your trap before I shut it for you, permanently, Yang threatened, putting her fist in Weiss' face threateningly and making her sweat. Thankfully for Weiss, everyone's attention was drawn to the stage where Ajpin, with Glinda besides him, patted the microphone to get their attention, with Yang pushing Weiss away to listen to the headmaster's speech with the others. I'll keep this brief. You have traveled here today in search of knowledge to hone your craft and acquire new skills, and when you have finished, you plan to dedicate your life to the protection of the people. But I look amongst you, and all I see is wasted energy, in need of purpose, direction. You assume knowledge will free you of this, but your time at this school will prove that knowledge can only carry you so far. It is up to you to take the first step. As the students whispered among themselves in reaction to Ajpin's speech, Glinda stepped up to talk. You will gather in the ballroom tonight. Tomorrow, your initiation begins. Be ready. You are dismissed. He seemed kind of off. Yang remarked. It's almost like he wasn't even there. Ruby agreed, but he wasn't wrong. There's more to being a hunter than simple street knowledge and skill. Naruto commented. Weiss was about to voice her opinion when John approached her from the side, in an attempt to be suave. I'm a natural blonde, you know, he declared, making Weiss and Naruto facepalm. So are Naruto and I. We blondes have more fun, right? Yang said as she tossed out her hair. Does this guy even recognize sarcasm though? Naruto muttered as he pinched the bridge of his nose. He is an idiot. Kagaya spoke up, unlike you. Thanks. Wait a minute, aren't you Vomit Boy? Yang asked as she finally recognized him, causing John to groan in embarrassment. Ballroom, nighttime. Hours later, after dinner in the cafeteria, the new students retired to the ballroom, where sleeping bags littered the floor as everyone was turning in to get rested for the rumored initiation tomorrow. Everyone has changed out of his or her hunter gear and into their pajamas. Ruby, wearing a black tank top with a heart-shaped Beowulf design on the chest and long white pants with pink rose designs, was writing in her journal when Yang, wearing an orange tank top with a flame emblem on the front and brown boy shorts, crashes next to her. It's like a big slumber party, Yang said joyfully. I don't think Dad would approve of all the boys though, Ruby remarked, not looking up from her journal. I know I do, Yang purred, watching several muscular, shirtless guys until John, dressed in blue full-body pajamas with blue bunny slippers, smiled and waved to her, making her groan as Naruto returned from the bathroom, dressed in a black sleeveless shirt with a red Yuzashio symbol on the front and blue boxers. He blinked when he noticed John's attire and sweat dropped. Oh dear Lord, please tell me that's not a onesie, he said, now making John groan as he went to his sleeping bag that was right next to Ruby and Yang's. And Yang, I heard what you said. Just for that, I think I'll have my sleeping bag for myself tonight. Ruby still didn't look up as Yang leapt at Naruto and put him in a bear hug with his face in her breasts, begging him to reconsider. Yang choking, not breathing. Naruto shouted in a muffled voice, his arms flailing until Yang let up on her hold. Fine, you can sleep with me, but since we're not the only one here, no sex in front of everyone. I got it, Yang said as she rolled her eyes and noticed what Ruby was doing. What's that? Oh, just a letter. I promised to tell my old classmates all about Beacon and how things are going, Ruby said. Ah, that's so good. Yang cooed until he was knocked off of Naruto by a pillow Ruby launched at her. Shut up. I didn't get to take the friends I wanted to pass with me to Beacon because they scored low points. It's weird not knowing anyone here besides you and Naruto, Ruby mumbled. What about John? He's nice. There you go. +1 friend. That's 100% increase, Yang said cheerfully. Pretty sure Weiss counts as a negative friend. Back to 0, Ruby countered as she laid back, making the blondes frown before Yang's expression brightened back up. There's no such things as negative friends. You just made 1 friend and 1 enemy, Yang said, only to be hit in the face by Ruby's favorite dog pillow. Look Ruby, it's only been 1 day. Like I said earlier, you've got hidden friends all around you that you haven't met yet, Naruto said and patted Ruby on the head. Before anything else could be said, the three noticed a candle being lit nearby. Looking towards the source, they found Blake, wearing a black yukata with gray and white as subcolors, sitting against the wall reading a book. That girl, Ruby whispered, remembering her from this morning. You know her? Yang asked after she recovered. Ruby doesn't, but I do. That's Blake. She and I are old acquaintances, Naruto answered. She saw what happened this morning, but left before I could say anything, Ruby commented, giving Yang an idea. Well, now's your chance, Yang declared, grabbing Ruby's arm and lifting her up. Wait. What are you doing? Ruby yelped in protest as Yang dragged Ruby over to Blake. Oh boy, Naruto muttered and followed after the sisters. Blake continued to read her book before she heard noises, and looked up over her book to see Yang dragging Ruby over to her with Naruto following. Hello. Yang greeted in a singing voice before letting go of Ruby, who hid behind her and Naruto. I believe you guys may know each other? Hey Blake. Naruto greeted with a grin. Hey Naruto. So she's your sister? The girl that exploded? Blake asked in amusement, looking from Naruto to Yang to Ruby. Yeah? My name's Ruby. But you can just call me Crater, Ruby said before faltering, embarrassed, but managed to continue. Actually, you can just call me Ruby. Okay. Blake said as he went back to her book. What are you doing? Yang asked in a loud whisper, elbowing Ruby. I don't know, help me. Ruby hissed back before going back to smiling at Blake. So you're Blake? Naruto told us. Yang said, attempting to start a conversation. Yes. You're well informed. Blake said while sighing at being distracted again. And you? Well, Blake, I'm Yang, Ruby and Naruto's sister. Yang introduced herself. I like your bow. Thanks, Blake said, her eye twitching as she was now a little irritated at being interrupted again. It goes great with your pajamas. Right. Gah, nice night, don't you think? Yes, it's lovely. Almost as lovely as this book that I will continue to read as soon as you leave, Blake said, with Naruto picking up the subtle hints that she wanted to be left alone. Oh come on, don't be such a spoilsport. Yang said as Ruby took notice of Blake's book. Geez, you're acting as socially awkward as Ruby. Naruto mumbled under his breath. What's it about? Ruby suddenly asked. Huh? Blake asked, surprised. Your book. Does it have a name? Well, it's about a man with two souls, each fighting for control over his body. It's based off the book of the old world before Remnant, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Blake revealed, becoming a little more open to the others. Oh yeah, that's real lovely. Yang stated sarcastically, but with no malice, but Naruto elbowed her all the same. I love books. Yang used to read to me every night before bed. Stories of heroes and monsters, they're one of the reasons I want to be a huntress, Ruby explained, making Blake giggle a little. And why is that? Hoping you'll live happily ever after? Blake questioned, hearing the naivete in Ruby. Well, I'm hoping we all will. As a girl, I wanted to be just like those heroes in the books, someone who fought for what was right, and protected people who couldn't protect themselves. Ruby said with determination. Huh. That's very ambitious. Blake said before her smile turned into a frown. Unfortunately, the real world isn't the same as a fairy tale. Well, that's why we're here. To make it better. Ruby tried to reassure her, but Blake didn't look convinced, which was only noticed by Naruto. Oh, I am so proud of my baby sister. Yang squealed and grabbed Ruby in a bear hug into the air. Cut it out. Ruby cried, her feet kicking out before punching Yang in the face, causing the four sisterly evolved into a dust cloud of fighting limbs and flying stars. Blake watched with an amused smile as Naruto stepped in to break up the fighting. Well, Ruby, Yang, it's a pleasure to ha. What in the world is going on over here? Don't you realize some of us are trying to sleep? Weiss, wearing a faded bluish sleeping gown with short sleeves and white trimmings with her family crest on the upper right chest and her hair down, came storming over to the group, and skidded to a halt when she saw exactly who it was that was making all the noise. Oh, not you again! Weiss and Yang shouted at the sight of each other. You just said people were trying to sleep, and here you are shouting. Naruto mused. Why you, shut up Namikaze. Weiss screeched as Ruby quickly placed her finger on her lips. Sure. Guys, she's right. People are trying to sleep, Ruby said as the devil hunter, and the heiress glared daggers at each other before Ruby's words drew Weiss' attention to her. Oh, now you're on my side. Weiss snapped. I was always on your side. Ruby countered angrily. Yeah, what's your problem with my sister? She's only trying to be nice. Yang asked as her eyes turned red. Is it because of Naruto? They're just both hazards to my health. Weiss said, stamping her foot on the ground. Kiss my ass, Naruto replied flatly and gave her the finger. Blake, who rolled her eyes at the fight, closed her book after saving the spot where she left off in her book, and reached over to grab her candle and blows it out, enveloping the ballroom in darkness. Unfortunately, one of them tripped over the other, and then came the sounds of kicking, swearing, panic, and the likes, until a light flicked on, revealing Naruto with a lighter, showing Ruby holding Weiss in a princess carry position, while Yang was sitting on the wall with Blake in her arms. What are you doing, you dolt? Weiss stammered, blushing furiously as Ruby's breasts pressed against her frame. Ruby said, having no idea what the hell happened. ZZZZ. Hey Blake, don't fall asleep. Yang moaned as Blake leaned into her neck sound asleep, and put her hand on her head until she felt something underneath her bow. What the? Are these ears? What else could happen? What else? Naruto groaned as he rubbed his eyes. This was going to be a long 4 years. End of Chapter 2. Chapter 03. Falling into the forest. Beacon Academy. Wake up, lazy bun. It's morning. It's morning. It's morning. It's morning. Blake's bow twitched as the sound of a girl's voice rang out through the ballroom, causing her to groan, and was about to get up and stretch when she found she couldn't as she felt held down with her head resting against some soft pillows. Snapping her eyes open, she found herself not in her sleeping bag, but in a different one, as she was wedged between Naruto and Yang, with her head resting against Yang's breasts. Luckily for her, before she could panic, the voice of the girl from earlier roused Naruto from his sleep. Yang, why is my sleeping bag so constricted? Naruto groaned, clearing his vision until he saw a blushing Blake and Yang, the latter showing signs of waking up as well. Kitty cat? How did you? Oh yeah, you fell asleep on Yang and she dragged you in here. Sorry about that. Naruto reached for the zipper and opened the sleeping bag, allowing Blake to hop out and slip away just as Yang got up and stretched. I would have loved for Blakey to stay a little longer, Yang said, smiling at Blake's retreating form. You'll have a hard time getting through her shell. Naruto commented and stretched herself. But you have. Not exactly. So what was the point of stuffing her in my sleeping bag with us? I know you're in full support of a harem, but I prefer girls who like me for me and join willingly. That goes without saying. Yang agreed as they went to the restroom. But I bet you always wanted a cat girl like Blake, right? So you found out, huh? Naruto said after putting his finger to Yang's lips. That's not common knowledge and Blake wants to keep it that way. I found out by accident. Don't worry, her secret's safe with me, Yang assured her as they stopped in front of the restroom. Now, if only the showers were co-ed. Yang, I'm only kidding, whoa. I'm late. I'm late. I'm late. Ruby wailed as she sped into the restroom past the two blondes. Well, at least we won't have to drag her out of bed like we need on the first day of Signal, Naruto remarked. As he, Yang, and Ruby brushed their teeth, they heard the same girl from earlier chatting animatedly with her friend. I can't believe we've been at Beacon for a full 24 hours. Not that I thought we'd get kicked out or anything, I mean, you're the perfect student and I'm me. But it's just crazy, you know? Geez, she's an energetic one, right, Whiskers? Whiskers? Inag looked around to find Naruto gone. He's already went into the showers, and instructed me not to let you sneak in, Ruby said after spitting out some water. Why would I? I need all the energy I can get to get through this initiation, Yang said, and then some. Yeah, well, I wouldn't put it past you and Naruto to have some fun during the initiation, Ruby replied flatly. A while later, Naruto exited the shower, changed into his default hunter outfit, and exited the restroom after seeing that Yang and Ruby were in the shower as well. After he finished cleaning up his, Ruby, and Yang's area and rolled up the sleeping bags, he held the same voice again chatting with her friend. We've been friends for so long. What are the odds we'd still be together? Well, not together, not that I'm not saying that you're not beautiful. You are beautiful, but that'd just be weird, right? She sounds like Ruby, only more chatty, Naruto thought as he tied up the sleeping bags. Cafeteria, and she's still going at it. She's been talking nonstop since this morning, Naruto grumbled as he spared a glance at the talkative girl and her friend, the latter cutting into her pancakes. The talkative girl is the same height as Ruby with short orange hair, turquoise eyes, pale white skin, an athletic figure with a D-cup bust, and wearing mix-and-match clothing that consists of a collared black vest that has her symbol on the back with 2 layers of red and light blue clothing under it, a white sleeveless top with a tiny heart-shaped cutout between her cleavage and collarbone with detached sleeves, thin armor from the shoulder and neck and end at the waist, fingerless gloves, a mid-thigh-length pink skirt with a bow on the back, and pink and white shoes with pink lace. Her clearly suffering-looking friend is a bit taller than her friend with long black hair tied into a ponytail that fell down her back with a magenta streak on the left side of her hair, magenta eyes, pale white skin, a slender figure with the same D-cup bust as her friend, and wearing a tight-fitting diagonally buttoned Chinese-style tailcoat dress of dark green silk and black and gold trimming with detached wide sleeves, thigh-high white socks, and high-heeled black shoes. Right. What was I thinking? But still, I hope we end up on the same team together, the Orangeette said before slurping down the rest of her pancake that was hanging from her mouth. We should come up with some sort of plan, to make sure we end up on the same team together. What if we bribe the headmaster? No, that won't work. He has the school. Yan followed Naruto glaze and smirked, already scouting potential targets. A Whiskers? Nope. But feeling sorry for the silent girl, Naruto said and looked at Ruby, who was wolfing down her own pancakes before downing it with a glass of milk, making him snigger. What? She asked as she set her glass down. You got something on your, Naruto said, motioning to his upper lip. Ruby, you got a milk mustache. Yan giggled, pointing at the leftover milk below Ruby's nose. Ruby stuck her tongue out in responses, but her eyes widened when Yang leaned forward and licked the milk off of Ruby. Whoa. Naruto said in mock dull surprise. I know you're sisters, but that was hot. WH, what was that for? Ruby squeaked, covering her hand with her mouth and her face turning red. I was a bit thirsty. Yang replied simply and winked at Ruby, reddening her face further. Ah, you're so cute when you're blushing. As Yang continued to tease Ruby, Naruto felt as if he was being watched and looked towards the entrance, where he thought he saw a mane of brown hair with rabbit ears whipped around the corner, and disappeared. I smell rabbit. Go after it. Kennet Kiyomi, Kurami? Locker room. I know. We'll have some sort of signal. Like a distress signal. Gasps, a secret signal so we can find each other in the forest. Can you imitate a sloth? A sloth? Nora? Yes, Rin? Sloths, I don't think they make a lot of noise. That's why it's perfect. No one will suspect we're working together. Come on, Nora, let's go. Not together. Has anyone ever heard a sloth make noise before? Naruto wondered to himself as Rin and Nora walked past him, Ruby, and Yang at their gear lockers. Sloths are too lazy to make any noise, but I would say no. Kagura commented before hearing the sounds of Kaguya falling into another one of her pranks. What was that? Naruto asked as he heard the distant sounds of Kaguya screaming every swear word in the book. Never you mind. By the way, I hope you finish your initiation early. It's that time of the month for Shikaku-chan again, and I'm gonna need your assistance again, Kagura said as she looked over the direction where Shikaku made their territory in her landmark. I know, and you ladies never let me forget it. Naruto grumbled and cut the connection. It's a nightmare every time. Wonder what those two are so worked up about. Ruby said as she opened her locker to retrieve Crescent Rose. Oh, who knows? So, you seem awfully chipper right now. Yang noted as she finished equipping her Ember Celica. Yep. No more awkward small talk or getting to know you stuff. Today, I get to let my sweetheart do the talking, Ruby declared and stroked Crescent Rose lovingly, sighing happily while Naruto shook his head as he geared up. Well, remember, Ruby, you're not the only one going through initiation. If you want to mature, you're gonna have to meet new people and learn to work together, Yang told Ruby, making growl in irritation. Ugh, you sound like Dad. Ruby complained, shoving Crescent Rose back into her locker and folding her arms. Okay, first of all, what does meeting new people have to do with fighting? And secondly, I don't need people to help me grow up. I drink milk, which has done wonders, by the way, Naruto said with a grin as he looked at her breasts before looking back up, causing her to sputter in embarrassment. As for your first question, lots of huntsmen and huntresses work together and watch each other's backs. Meeting people help build trust and bonds, and I don't mean in the financial sense, but I rather go solo. Then what about when we form teams? It's mandatory. Yang reminded her as Ruby then became nervous. I don't know, I'll just be on your team or Naruto's or we all can be, Ruby replied without looking at them. Maybe you should try being on someone else's team, Rubes. Naruto said seriously after finishing loading Thorn and Petal and holstering them as Yang nervously grabbed her own hair and began stroking it with her hands. I'm sorry, Naruto, but are you and Yang implying that you both don't wish to be on the same team as me? Ruby asked angrily as she got into her faces, glaring cutely at them. What? No? Of course we do. I just thought, I don't know, maybe it would help you break out of that shell of yours. Yang explained hastily. What the dash? I don't need to break out of my shell. Ruby ranted furiously. That's absolutely ridiculous. There's no way I put my gear in locker 636 yesterday. I would have remembered having to count that high. Why does this have to happen today? A lost John suddenly said as he walked between the siblings as he looked for his locker. It's towards that wall, Naruto said, pointing towards said wall under a few windows after putting on Trickster. Oh. Thanks, Naruto, John said gratefully and made a beeline for his location as Naruto turned to Ruby. Ruby, nothing in life is easy, like making new friends. You may get a home run, you may strike out, but that doesn't mean you should stop trying. Everyone's aiming for the same thing here, no matter if they're upstanding or an ass. Nonetheless, if you want to partner up with either of us, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, Naruto said and did a short appraise of Red Queen. Of course. With you armed with the knowledge of how teams are formed, I can be with you guys. Ruby agreed while Naruto and Yan look uncertain. I don't know, Ruby. Conan confided in C about how teams are formed, but they change up the ways every year. But I don't know how they're doing it this year, Naruto admitted, with a cloud of gloom appearing above Ruby's head as he put Red Queen on his back. What did they do last year then? Yang inquired with Naruto having a thoughtful expression. The first person someone tags becomes their partner. From what Conan told me, it got pretty ugly, Naruto said and grimaced when Ruby started to panic again. As Yang proceeded to calm Ruby down, Naruto could have sworn he heard thunder and looked over his shoulder to see a thundercloud. Curious, he left the sisters and walked through it to find Weiss in a scheme pose and a manic smile when he looked over her shoulder. Oh, hello Naruto, said a cheery voice, making him look up in surprise to find a familiar face. Long time no see. It's a young woman almost as tall as Naruto with red hair tied in a waist-length ponytail with a bronze circlet, vivid green eyes with light green eyeshadow around the far upper corners of her eyes, pale white skin, a muscular figure with E-cup breasts, and wearing strapless leather split top under a low bronze v-neck, a large bronze gorget around her neck, a bronze bracelet and bracer on her left arm and wrist, and a shoulder-length glove on her right arm, a red belted miniskirt with a pouch with her symbol and brown short shorts and a red drapery around her back, thigh-high bronze greaves and boots. Piranikos? What a surprise! I didn't expect you, Naruto said and passed by a shell-shocked Weiss. Wait, what? Weiss said as Naruto and Pira fist bumped each other. You're friends with him, Pira, after what he did to you? What do you mean? Pira asked, confused. After what I did to her. What exactly are you accusing me of? Naruto asked, narrowing his eyes. What do you think? You broke her 4-win winning streak at the Mistral tournaments. Weiss replied angrily. Hey, It's not like I decided to join the tournament to do just that. I actually lost a few of those tournaments myself, and learned from the experiences. Pyrrha was the best opponent I ever fought with, Naruto said with a smile, and I would love to have another go again. But this time, I'll come out on top, Pyrrha declared with fire in her eyes. Sounds great. I'll be looking forward to it. Naruto agreed and they shook hands. Ugh, you got to be kidding me. Weiss groaned and put a hand on her shaking head just as John came out of nowhere over her shoulder. You know what else is great? Me. John Ark, nice to meet you. John introduced himself Casanova style. Art, you again? Weiss said, getting even more irritated. Nice to meet you, John. Pyrrha greeted, walking forward, but John pushes her aside. Yeah? He said, continues talking to Weiss. Did he seriously just do that? Naruto asked himself, looking at John like an idiot. To Pyrrha of all people just to court the rich bitch? I can only guess that the kid was smoking something. The Hachibi, Gyuki, said within Naruto's head. Who does that? To quote Kagaya, Gyuki massive idiots. Naruto said as he watched the exchange between Weiss and John. So, Weiss, couldn't help but overhear your fondness of me the other day. John said, making Naruto face fault in the background. Oh, you've got to be kidding me, /oh, you've got to be kidding me. Weiss and Naruto said /thought at the same time. Don't worry. No need to be embarrassed. So, been hearing rumors about teams. I was thinking you and me would make a good one. What do you say? John offered, getting close to an uncomfortable Weiss. Why don't you buy a pet shark while you're at it? Naruto thought as he got up as Pyrrha stepped forward and got John's attention. You dumbass. Actually, I think the teams are comprised of 4 students each, so Pyrrha started to say, but, you don't stay. John said smoothly again and advanced on Pyrrha. Well, hot stuff, play your cards right and maybe you could join up with the winning team. This guy's read a book on how to pick up chicks. I know it. Naruto thought to himself as he watched Weiss quickly get between the two. Think he read Tucker's book? No, otherwise he'll be using less appropriate terms. The Yambi, Son Goku, piped up. John, is it? Do you have any idea who you're talking to? Weiss asked as if John was stupid. Not in the slightest, Snow Angel. John countered gently, making Naruto look wide-eyed before face faulting again. Snow Angel? Really? Really? This is Pyrrha. Nikos. Hello again. Pyrrha said, waving. Pyrrha graduated top of her class at Sanctum. Never heard of it. John said as Weiss scoffed. Like I said, she's won the Mistral region tournaments 4 years in a row. A new record until Namikaze ruined it. Weiss mumbled the last part. The what? John asked while trying to keep the confusion out of his voice. She's on the front of every Pumpkin Pete's Marshmallow Flakes box. Weiss said loudly, waving her arms rapidly in anger as John finally recognized her from that. That's you? But they only do that for star athletes and cartoon characters. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Sadly, the cereal isn't very good for you. Pyrrha admitted, a bit embarrassed. So, after hearing all of this, do you really think you're in a position to ask her to be on your team? Weiss asked the now depressed John. I guess not, sorry, he mumbled, hanging his head. Naruto, however, scowled at that last sentence Weiss just uttered and looked at Pyrrha, who looked hurt at what she said. Typical elitist snob. Naruto growled as she turned Weiss towards him. If that's the case, you don't deserve to be her partner. And you think you do? Weiss snapped at him. Better me or John than you. Naruto replied, unlike you, at least we wouldn't partner up with her just because she's a celebrity. What dash? That is absolutely not true. Weiss lied as Pyrrha went to comfort John. Cheer up, John. I believe you'd make a great leader. Do stop it. John said bashfully after brightening back up. Seriously, please stop it. This kind of behavior should not be encouraged. Weiss snapped, trying to separate the two. Sounds like Pyrrha's on board for Team John. Spots are filling up quick. Now I'm not supposed to do this, but maybe I could pull some strings, find a place for you. What do you say? John offered in his Casanova mode while leaning into Weiss again. Alright, that's a bit too close. Pyrrha, a little help please? Weiss whined. A clicking sound was heard, with John turning around in time to see Pyrrha's weapon Milo in javelin mode strike him in his hood, and sending him wailing into a wall. I'm sorry. Pyrrha apologized as Naruto rolled his eyes. Would all first-year students please report to Beacon Cliff for initiation? Again, all first-year students report to Beacon Cliff immediately. Glinda spoke through the intercom system. Weiss passed by the prone John without a second glance, with Pyrrha coming up next. It was nice meeting you, John. Pyrrha said as she retrieved Milo and followed after Weiss as John dropped to ground. Likewise. He groaned, slumping against the wall. You know, I think you have an admirer, buddy. Naruto said as he looked at the departing Pyrrha. Who? Weiss? John asked hopefully, making Naruto face fault for the third straight time as Ruby and Yang came up. I admit I can be dense myself sometimes, but your density is in the idiot territory. Naruto said as he got up. The lady killer is having some trouble? Yang asked. I don't understand. My dad said all women look for his confidence. Where did I go wrong? John groaned in disappointment as he accepted Ruby's hand and uses her to lift himself up. Snow Angel probably wasn't the best start. Yang told him as she and Naruto passed him by. You really need to recognize sarcasm, buddy. Naruto told him over his shoulder. Come on, John, let's go. Ruby said as she led him and his damaged self-esteem out of the locker room. More like an ice queen, actually, an ice bitch. Naruto said and frowned. You're really critical of her, aren't you? Yang said quietly. My insults to her are to help her grow up and be a better person. When she becomes that, I'll stop. But it looks like that won't be happening anytime soon, Naruto stated as his mind wandered to their fellow blonde. He found it odd that John didn't know exactly who Weiss and Pyrrha really are, and even more confused that he didn't know about the tournaments. All Hunter-to-be knows everything huntsmen and huntresses related, and the fact that John's lack of knowledge was getting a bit suspicious to Naruto, but he'll worry about that later. Beacon Cliff. The Beacon Cliff is the site of the beginning of the Beacon initiation, where it overlooks the forest where the initiation will take place. Right now, the first-year students are standing on silver tiles in front of Professor Ajban with a mug of coffee and Glinda with her tablet scroll. Naruto, who was at the far end, took a quick look to see John next to him, followed by Ruby Yang, until he moved his head to the side when Glinda threw a small dust spell at him to get his attention since Ajban was about to speak. For years, you have trained to become warriors, and today, your abilities will be evaluated in the Emerald Forest. Ajban stated as he looked among the students. Now I'm sure many of you have heard rumors about the assignment of teams. Well, allow us to put an end to your confusion. Each of you will be given teammates today, Glinda announced. What? Oh, Ruby whined at this unexpected development. These teammates will be with you for the rest of your time here at Beacon. So it is in your best interest to be paired with someone with whom you can work well, Ajban advised them. Naruto looked at Ruby as she whined some more, with Yang winking at him. That being said, for this year's initiation, the first person you make eye contact with after landing will be your partner for the next 4 years. Ajban declared, glass shattering. What? Naruto could literally hear Ruby's world shattering into little shards of broken glass and immediately felt really bad for Ruby, and hoped that her luck wasn't so bad to pair her up with a certain heiress. See? I told you, Nora said to Rin, but was interrupted by Ajban as he started speaking again. After you've partnered up, make your way to the northern end of the forest. You will meet opposition along the way. Do not hesitate to destroy everything in your path, or you will die. John set out a short nervous laugh and gulped loudly while Nora looked way too happy, before Ajban continued. You will be monitored and graded through the duration of your initiation, but our instructors will not intervene. You will find an abandoned temple at the end of the path containing several relics. Each pair must choose one and return to the top of the cliff. You will guard that item, as well as your standing, and grade you appropriately. Are there any questions? Yeah, sir? John started to say while raising his hand. Good. Now, take your positions. Ajban instructed. Everyone got into her battle stances on their own tile, readying to begin, except for John, who still had his hand raised and was not in position like everyone else. Sir? I've got a question. John spoke up, not noticing the tile under Weiss launching her up into the air like a springboard and over the forest with others following suit. So, this landing strategy thing, what is it? You're like dropping us off or something? No. You will be falling. Ajban said as if commenting the weather. Oh, I see, John said as he still failed to notice his fellow students being launched into the forest. So, did you, hand out parachutes for us? Naruto turned his head towards John with a look of disbelief. If they handed out parachutes, he would have known by now. Hooey! Nora yelled cheerfully as she was launched. No. You will be using your own landing strategy, Ajban said as Glinda gave the boy a calculating glare while Rin was launched. Yeah? John said slowly while still oblivious to what is happening. Yan winked at Ruby and Naruto, the latter giving a thumb up in return, put on her pair of aviator sunglasses before getting launched. Woohoo! Yan yelled before Ruby, with a smile on her face at Naruto, joined her in the air. So, what exactly is a landing straight why? John wailed at the last part, as he was catapulted and sent soaring ungracefully into the air. Naruto prepared for his own launch, yet nothing happened. Scowling, he stomped on his tile and looked at Glinda and Ajban. Really? Really? Do you hate me that much to break my launch pad, Professor Goodwitch? He asked, scowling at her. I don't hate you. Professor Ajban has put on hold on yours so you two can talk. Glinda countered, with Naruto looking skeptical before turning his attention to Ajban. Naruto, we found a hell gate. Ajban said abruptly, with Naruto's eyes widening in surprise. Hell gates are monolithic structures that serve as portals between the human world of Remnant and the demon world of Makai. They started appearing years ago before Naruto came to Remnant, and they were mostly hidden underground until they rise up to unleash demons upon Remnant. Only the most experienced of huntsmen and hunters could fight the demons, since they're more powerful than the weakest Grimm. That is, until Naruto started his side job as a devil hunter at the age of 9 after Shinigami revealed his heritage. While he had trouble at first in his early year, despite Conan training him in the shinobi arts, he started picking the demon apart more easily at the age of 12 using his parents' jutsu he learned from the Kyuubi twins, Kiyomi and Kurami. The hell gates were hardly to find, but they've been popping up recently and more frequently to the point they stick out like sore thumbs. Are you sure? Wait, you're having this initiation while those demons are on the loose? Naruto roared in rage, thinking about Ruby and Yang and what might happen should they encounter a demon. They could handle the ones like scarecrows, but not the ones like faults, assaults, and blitz yet. They haven't gotten that far in that kind of training yet, don't fret. Team Blood Gulch has carted off the area until your arrival. They're the only group of hunters that can deal with demons of their caliber, Ashbin assured him, and since you're the only one in the world who capable of defeating greater demons. Naruto nodded after calming down. I understand. Once I deal with the boss demon guarding the Hell Gate, I can destroy it for good, and then get on with the initiation, but I doubt any partners will be left once I'm done. It's alright. Besides, we have an uneven number of students this year, so you can join a team of your choice should it come to that. Ashbin said, you'll be well compensated for the assignment. In addition to that, there will be something for you at the abandoned temple where the relics are, something we found in one of the caves in the forest that's tied to you. You'll know when you see it. Glinda informed Naruto and typed some buttons on her tablet. Naruto looked down when his platform shifted. We'll be launching you there directly. Good luck, Naruto, Glinda said. Naruto grinned and nodded before being unexpectedly launched into the forest where the demons are. Only you, Naruto, the descendant of Sparta, can end the threat of the demon world invasion. Ashbin said and took a sip of coffee from his mug. Emerald Forest. A bird grim was flying slowly and magnificently over the forest until it shrieked and exploded in a burst of feathers thanks to Ruby crashing into it. Birdie, no! Ruby fired a few rounds from Crescent Rose's gun mode to slow her down, then switched to scythe mode to catch the branch of a tree with her blade to descend to the ground safely. Wise summons a white snowflake glyph and leap off it to slow her own fall into the forest. Nora sailed by Rin, who spun in the air and used her weapon Stormflower, a pair of green-colored SMGs with axe-like blade attached under the barrels, to spiral around the trunk of a large tree and landed on the ground, brushing her clothes of dust before looking up to see Yang soaring past her. Woohoo! Yeah! Alley-oop! Yang yelled as her used Ember Celica gauntlets and their recoil to tree surf through the top of the forest, spinning in the air and laughing with each blast as she went further north. Whoa! She crashes through the leaves of some trees while whooping and bounded off of 2 trees before rolling onto the ground. Nail it! Yang boasted and ran off, unaware that she landed near a certain catgirl who began to trail her. Pyrrha, with her weapon and shield Milo and Akko, used her shield Akko to tank through several trees before landing on a branch, shifted Milo into rifle mode to check her surroundings, and saw a screaming John falling helplessly into the forest. Pyrrha twirled Milo around as it's transformed into its javelin mode, calculating her aim, and threw it as its recoil rocketed Milo deep into the forest until a dull thunk was heard. Thank you? John called in the distance. I'm sorry, Pyrrha replied, waving. Naruto's own landing strategy involved just soaring through the air and into the forest before landing on the ground on his feet and slid through the tree towards his destination while sensing the Hell Gate's presence as he got close. Let's see, there's the Hell Gate, some lesser demons, followed by a greater demon that's patrolling the area, and Team Blood Gulch. A team of idiots who are the only hunters capable of dealing with demons do their crazy planning and dumb luck similar to me. Yeah, this will be one fun initiation. Naruto sighed and groaned before smirking. Meanwhile, in the middle of the forest, Ruby landed in a crouch and sped off with single goal in her mind. Gotta find Yang. Gotta find Naruto. Gotta find Yang. Gotta find Naruto. Gotta find Yang. Naruto. Oh, this is bad. This is really bad. What if I can't find them? What if someone finds them first? Well, there's always John. He's nice. He's funny. I don't think he's very good in a fight, though. Ooh. What about Blake? So mysterious, so calm, plus she likes books. Then again, I'm not sure I'd be able to hold a conversation with her. Ugh. Shakes her head. Okay, who else do I know in this school? There's Yang, Naruto, John, Blake, and... Her train of thought was detailed when someone crashed into her from above. Time seemed to slow down. Ruby shook the cobwebs out of her head and cleared her vision to find herself looking into the eyes of Weiss, who was straddling her waist with a look of shock on her face. Oh, no, Ruby thought as Weiss slowly got off of her. No. There was a pause between them before Weiss turned on her heel and walked the other way, not caring about the rules of pair matching. Well, north is this way. Ruby followed after Weiss and watched as she struggled through the bushes and low tree branches. Don't follow me. I'm not being partners with you. Weiss snapped as she cleared the bushes. Oh ho. So the big bad Shinigami is going to break school rules? What would your family say, huh? Ruby countered as he walked in stride in her. Weiss opened her mouth to retort, but failed to find the words to say as Ruby continued. Besides, the professors are monitoring us as we speak, and have no doubt mark us down as partners, so even if you find another partner, they wouldn't count it since our eyes are met. You sure thought a lot about this. There's nothing to think about. At least I listened to Professor Ashbin despite my complaining. They then stopped when they heard a voice above them. Come on. Come on. Stupid. They looked up to see John stuck to a tree thanks to Pyrrha's weapon embedded in the trunk, and was trying to pull it out until he saw the two and gave an embarrassed wave and laugh. Before Ruby could go to help him, Weiss grabbed her by her hood after realizing that John would have been her next choice after leaving Ruby, But then again, Ruby was right about the rules. By no means does this make us friends, she said as she pulled Ruby in the direction they were walking. Hey, wait, Ruby said as Weiss quickly dragged her way into more bushes. Wait. Come back. Who's going to get me down from here? John yelled and waved his arms hopelessly. John? He stopped and looked down to see his savior, Pyrrha. Do you have any spots left on your team? Very funny, he said as he crossed his arms, but looks down and gives her a smile, which she returns. Meanwhile, back with Ruby and Weiss. Geez, what's the hurry? Ruby asked after pulling away from Weiss. I will not let my mission be delayed because you're too slow. I swear, if I get a bad grade because of your, Weiss said as she looked away at Ruby, but was startled when she looked to the front to see Ruby leaning against a tree with a smirk on her face and arms crossed. What the? You don't have to worry about me. Man, you really do judge a book by its book, do you? Ruby said and pushed herself off the tree. But how did? Weiss stuttered, slightly amazed. Why, my semblance, silly. Weiss, just because I don't exactly know how to deal with people doesn't mean I don't know how to deal with monsters. You experienced the Ruby that is awkward around others. But now Ruby puts her arm around a skeptical Weiss' shoulders. You're about to witness a Ruby who's the best in the world about what she does, slaying Grimm and demons. And one more thing. Ruby lets go of Weiss and adopts a serious expression. You may have high expectations, but I wasn't born in this world to live up to yours, and the same goes you. I was born to be a huntress, like my mother before me, and now I'm gonna prove it. Ruby suddenly whipped out Crescent Rose in scythe mode to behead a Beowulf lunging from behind her. Weiss gasped and jumped out of the way as another Beowulf lunged at her. Where'd they come from? The area's too closed off. Come on! Ruby grabbed Weiss and used her speed to get them out of there into an open place where they can fight, while a pack of Beowulfs with bony armor rushed after them. Emerald Forest, Hell Gate Perimeter. You're right on time, Naruto. The others are finishing up the lesser demons as we speak. A man in steel black armor with yellow lines said to an incoming Naruto. Thank you, Washington. Hopefully the cleaning up process doesn't involve one of Sarge's crazy plans that gets Griff killed? Thankfully, we managed to avoid that scenario. There's a huge clearing a mile out from here where Caboose of all people spotted the Hell Gate and mistook it for a slide. There was a huge explosion to the right in the distance. Ugh, it's Sarge, I know it. Will you be okay here? Obviously. Now go stop them. Remember that there's an initiation going on. Naruto watched as the armored man ran off, and then looked in the direction of the Hell Gate. Right, let's get this done, he muttered as his right hand and arm was encased in a demonic gauntlet-like arm known as the Devil Bringer, and looked back towards where the initiation was taking place. I'll be right there, Ruby Yang. End of Chapter 3. Chapter 04. Welcome to the jungle. Emerald Forest. Hello? Is anyone out there? Hello? Yang was walking around, looking for everyone that may be her new partner. When she was launched, she traveled further into the forest thanks to her Ember Celica, and was quite a ways from Ruby, and possibly Naruto as well. While she would love to be Ruby's partner, she was serious about her being someone else's partner that would break her out of her shell. She could only hope that she didn't run into with Weiss, who was proving Naruto's story about her true with every word that came out of her mouth. But while it's cruel that she didn't want to be Ruby's partner, she would rather be Naruto's partner. Besides, with her trying to corner Naruto so they could do the deed, they were both kind of similar in personalities, and both worked together like a well-oiled machine. But her greatest wish is that somehow, someway, all three of them would be on the same team together along with someone else that would work well with them and balance out their personalities, like the stoic and quiet Blake. In other words, Yang's preferred arrangement would be her and Naruto as partners with Ruby and Blake finding each other and becoming partners. Then they would form a team of herself, Naruto, Ruby, and Blake. However, she was prepared for the possibility of that not happening, and had the sinking suspicion that her ideal team setup was a bust. I'm getting bored here, she shouted before hearing some rustling in the bushes behind her and turned around. Is someone there? She went to the bushes to take a peek. Naruto? Ruby? Is that you? She asked before hearing a low, inhuman growl, and looked up to find the source. Nope. She rolled to the side as a large bear Grimm called and Ursa charged out of the bushes to take a bite out of her. Yan righted herself and activated her Ember Celica shot gauntlets before sensing another Ursa who flanked her from behind. She backflipped over it as its fellow Ursa charged at her, only to get blasted back by a fiery punch. The second Ursa made another run at Yang, but she countered by ducking under its swipe and delivered several machine gun-style punches before finishing up with a kick to send the Grimm back. You guys wouldn't happen to have seen a girl in a red hood, would you? Or a guy with blonde hair like mine with a big-ass sword on and back? She asked, only to receive a couple growls in response. You know, you could just say no, right? One of the Ursa took a couple of swipes at her, but Yang backflipped out of the way and laughed. Geez, you two couldn't hit the broadside of a BA, Yang started to say tauntingly when a single strand of her golden blonde hair falls in front of her face and lands on the ground. Hers shook with anger as she closed her eyes and opened them to reveal red eyes, making the Ursa look at each other in confusion. You fucking monsters! She screamed as an inferno enveloped her as she charged forward. Phoenix Barrage. She targets the first Ursa and delivers a devastating combo of fire-infused melee blows before unleashing a powerful punch that sent the offending Ursa through several trees that set them on fire. The other Ursa runs over, but was stopped cold at Yang's killing intent as a burning tree falls into the ground behind her, giving off an intimidating image. "What, bitch? You want some too?" she yelled as stood her ground and prepared to give the remaining Ursa a beating of a lifetime. The Ursa reared back and prepared to strike when a whirling noise is heard at the same time, followed by a thunk, making the Ursa freeze. The Ursa whines before falling down a second later to reveal Blake Belladonna with her gamble shroud and Kuzurigama mode in the Bear Grimm's back, making eye contact with Yang. Her eyes return to normal and panted in exhaustion while Blake recalls her weapon back to her, sheathing it on her back, and smirked at her new partner. What she didn't expect is Yang coming towards her and lunging at her for a hug. "Blakey!" Yang squealed. "Gah! Let go of me, you fiend!" Blake shrieked, her arms and leg flailing. Emerald Forest, Hell Gate. Naruto finally arrived in a large clearing to spot the ominous Hell Gate, and noticed a large green crack in it. "Looks like the boss demon is out and about," he noted and looked around to see large, glowing red seeds. "These are chimera eggs, freshly laid, which means..." Naruto closed his eyes, feeling his primary element, the wind, and opened his eyes and turned to see a giant serpent flying around the perimeter, shooting out chimera eggs that were going to hatch soon like the ones around him. After grumbling and flicking his wrist, Naruto sped around and gathered the chimera eggs in one spot before jumped back away from the pile with an egg in hand. Throwing it up, he reared back and kicked the egg into the pile. The eggs then flew into the forest and bounced around the trees as an egg the giant serpent shot at Naruto, who activated Trickster into combat mode and kicked it directly at the serpent along with the rest of the eggs that headed toward the serpent. This caught the serpent's attention as its mouth opened up, revealing a female plant-like humanoid with an upper half as the eggs impacted her face one by one. "The hell arc? Who the hell are you? Another Sparta?" she roared as she got close. "Name's Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, devil hunter and huntsman in training. And you must be Akidna the she-viper. Didn't you learn your lesson the last time you invaded the demon world? Guess you want to make it 0-3 since you're back," Naruto said before jumping to avoid the demoness tail whip and took a lazy seat on a tree branch. "Your scent is the same as the other two. So you're the new descendant of Sparta? You have the same blood in your veins as Dante, my killer." "You mean Uncle Dante? Don't worry, for he's in Makai with his wives Trish and Lady, enjoying their retirement alongside the others, so you have me to deal with. Instead I do. Something tells me that your blood will be better flowing through the veins of my children. Sorry, she-viper, but you're not my type. I better my girls with a lower half with a nice set of legs and an ass," Naruto countered while making gagging noises, causing multiple tick marks to appear on Echidna's head as he continued. "And you have none. Which makes me question how you managed to get dates with the fellas in Makai in the first place. How do you reproduce, by the way? Oh wait, don't answer that. I'm sure that mouth of yours, no matter how disgusting it is, does the trick, which means that you're a primary source for a guy's frustration, right? Enough of your jokes, half-breed." Akidna shrieked as she charged at Naruto in her serpent form. "You shall pay my losses by your family so I can have my revenge." Naruto grinned as he changed his Red Queen to battle mode. "Come them. Uncle Dante may have killed you anticlimactically, but let's see what kind of devil arm you'll make after I turn your ass into fertilizer." Akidna screeched and flew towards Naruto, who gave off a fanged grin and swung Red Queen at her. Emerald Forest, Ruby and Weiss predicament. After escaping the enclosed place, Ruby brought Weiss to a small clearing where the trees won't get in the way as the Beowulfs caught up with them. While Ruby dealt with the Beowulfs effortlessly, Weiss was having a difficult time with them. She deflected a swipe from a Beowulf with her multi-action dust rapier Murdernaster, but got pushed back in a circle of prowling Beowulfs. "Remember your training, Weiss," Weiss thought as she went through her dueling motions. "Head up, shoulders back, right foot forward, not that forward. Slow your breathing, wait for the right time to strike. And now." Weiss dashed forward with the fire dust set in Murdernaster and targeted the Beowulf that attacked her, just when Ruby suddenly appeared out of nowhere. "Mirage Moon!" she shouted and sliced through the Beowulf with her speed. However, her sudden appearance and defeat of the Beowulf startled Weiss as she yelled out and accidentally swung Murdernaster in a random direction and created a line of fire that set a tree on fire that traveled to other trees and set them ablaze. "What the dash?" Ruby started to say, distracted by the fire, but quickly defended against the Beowulf's attack that knocked her back into Weiss. "Gah! Watch it, will you? Excuse me. You attacked out of turn. I could have killed you." Weiss snapped at her with a bit of concern. "You'll have to try a lot harder than that," Princess Ruby muttered as she rolled her eyes. The two stood back to back as the pack of Beowulfs growled around them. Ruby then flared her killing intent, a trick she learned from Naruto. As she reloaded Crescent Rose at the same time a burning time fell near her. Weiss shivered at the killing intent flared by Ruby, wondering what it was, but the burning tree reminded her of the dire situation she and her new partner was in. "We have to go," Weiss said, reaching out for Ruby's arm, but wasn't in time as Ruby used the recoil of her Crescent Rose to rocket towards the Grim. "Ruby, you dolt." By the time Weiss took 5 steps, Ruby appeared next to her in a flash after bounding off the trees slashing the Beowulfs, and sheathed crescent rose on her back. Just as all the Beowulfs fell to the ground in bloody pieces, Ruby then grabbed Weiss around her waist and sped out of there before the fire could engulf them, stopping a safe ways from the small forest fire. "You stupid dolt! We could have gotten killed!" Weiss screeched as she pushed herself away from Ruby's grip when they landed. "If you had exercised even the slightest amount of caution with the placement of your strikes, I wouldn't have set the forest on fire. If you have enough energy to rant about me saving both our butts, then I suggest we get a move on before all the relics are gone," Ruby told her bluntly and walked off. "Since when have you gotten so smart all of a sudden?" Weiss asked as she caught up to Ruby. "And we're going the wrong way." "We're not going the wrong way," Ruby said while ignoring the first question and looking up at the sky to view the sun's position. "We are if you're looking up at the sky like that." "She's got money for brains, this one," Ruby thought to herself before stopping. "Okay then, princess. You can lead us since you believe you know where the temple is. For once, you're being smart, unlike those other times," Weiss said and went a different direction before bumping Ruby's shoulder with her own as she passed. "Come now." As Weiss walked off in a completely different direction, Ruby channeled all of her inner rage at her partner's attitude into her unfolded crescent rose and slices a group of trees down. They fell down behind her as she refolded and sheathed it back. "What I wouldn't give to turn back time." Emerald Forest, Hellgate area, Q battle theme, the Viper, Akidna battle, from Devil May Cry 4. Akidna flew around the perimeter screaming as Naruto rode on her body with Red Queen stabbed into her scales, trying to get him off. She did try and fire her chimera eggs at Naruto, only for him to shoot them into pieces with thorn and petal. Naruto then jumped when he nearly hit a tree and used this devil bringer to pull himself back onto Akidna. He ran down her body, leapt off it onto a tree, and bounded off it to deliver a rider kick that sent her back into the clearing. "I will never lose to a Sparta again. I will kill you!" Akidna screeched as her upper body appeared. Naruto used his devil bringer to latch onto her body, and pulled himself close to slash her several times before executing a roulette spinning slash that forced her to return to her serpent form. She flew around him, expecting him to escape her vortex, but he just stood there and yawned, moving his head to the side when her spiked tail nearly whipped him in the face. She then came down to chomp on him and succeed, but he exploded in a burst of flames, making her cry out in pain as the real Naruto appeared from behind a tree after using a fire-style, exploding shadow clone substitution jutsu. Rushing forward, he delivered a rider kick that sent her into another tree. "A minute in and already this is too easy. Are you even trying, dearie?" Naruto asked in the usual Sparta-style taunting manner. Akidna shrieked in rage and took to the air, her tail splitting into several tentacles before planting herself in the ground like a spider, with an egg sac above Naruto, birthing chimera eggs. "Sorry, but I already had scrambled eggs for breakfast," Naruto said, spinning Red Queen like a helicopter to take out the eggs, "and yours look unappetizing." Akidna was about to taunt him, thinking that her babies would do the trick, but then felt extreme pain as Naruto ruthlessly attacked her egg sac like a speed bag with a barrage of punches enhanced by his devil bringer followed up by with a revved up Red Queen that sliced through her sac like a hot knife through butter that forced her out of her spider form. "My children! You bastard!" Akidna screamed in pain. "Sorry about that, dearie, but having you around is more than enough," Naruto replied as he dug in his ear with his normal hand. "Oops." He used oration to dodge Akidna's lunge and followed her with his eyes as she went into the edge of the battlefield, weaving in and out of trees. Naruto whipped out thorn and petal and fired, riddling her with bullets until she came out to try and eat him, but recoiled with Naruto blasted her in the mouth in thorn and petal's double-barreled revolver magnum mode. She attempted this maneuver twice, yet got the same result, until she popped out, and used her hair as a whip to tie him up. Naruto barely dodged the attack and fired the spectral arm of his devil bringer into her face, stunning her. She held her head in pain, allowing Naruto leap up, stab her in her chest with Red Queen, and proceed to rev it with his normal hand, and continuously punch her in the face with his devil bringer. As Akidna's body racked in pain, she had the feeling of déjà vu, as Naruto was using the same strategies as Nero and Dante, yet this Sparta was combining and adding on to them. And that really sucked for her, until she had enough when Naruto pulled out Red Queen and slashed her upwards with high roller upward slash before landing on the ground and planting the now smoking Red Queen in the ground since it was too hot to hold. One of the weaknesses of Red Queen, until Naruto can improve it, is that while it can use specific dust to heat the blade allowing it to slice through objects with ease, the function only lasts for 3 minutes until it's too hot to hold, and requires for it to cool down for about 30 seconds until it can be usable again. Naruto didn't mind, but prefers not to have his hand welded onto the handle of Red Queen. Playtime's over. Small tendrils came out of Akidna's wound and wrapped around her upper body that triggered her devil trigger-like state, with her eyes turning yellow and her body gaining a yellow aura-like glow. Die. And I thought Yang's and Ruby's periods were scary, Naruto mused, pointing Red Queen at the charging Akidna and shot her with Thorn and Petal's Magnum revolver mode. Battle theme fade out. Meanwhile, on the other side of the Emerald Forest, Pyrrha, Nikos and John Ark are making their way through Emerald Forest when John heard a far-off noise and turns to look. Did you hear that? He asked as Pyrrha looked around. Gunfire. It seems some of our comrades have encountered the enemy. They continue onwards with John not paying attention as Pyrrha brushed away a branch that accidentally smacked John right in the face, flooring him hilariously. John? I'm sorry, Pyrrha said as John laughed it off with a hint of frustration. It's okay. Just a scratch, John assured her as she noticed the gash on his cheek. Why didn't you activate your aura? She questioned as he got up. Huh, your aura, Pyrrha repeated, thinking that he didn't hear the first time. Gesundheit, John replied, with multiple question marks appearing above Pyrrha for a moment. John, do you know what aura is? Pyrrha asked, frowning at the blonde Casanova wannabe. PSCH, of course I do, John replied instantly while avoiding eye contact with his partner. I know exactly what aura is. Do you know what aura is? Pyrrha appeared insulted for a little bit with tick mark on her head before shaking them off and smiled. While finding it odd that John didn't know the common knowledge that up-and-coming hunters shoulder know before coming to a school like Beacon, she decided to explain anyway. Hellgate, Q battle theme, the Viper, Akidna battle, from Devil May Cry 4. Naruto rolled out of the way of an empowered Akidna's lunge, but failed to notice her tail, which knocked him into a tree. Akidna charged again with her mouth open to devour him, but Naruto substituted himself with a lava-style, exploding shadow clone substitution jutsu that filled Akidna's mouth with lava the moment Akidna closed her mouth on it. She howled and threw up the lava as Naruto reappeared in the middle of the field while putting on sunglasses. Aura is the manifestation of our soul. It bears our burdens and shields our hearts. Have you ever felt you were being watched without knowing that someone was there? Yeah? Akidna shrieked and shot up hordes of chimera eggs that quickly hatched into chimeras that surrounded Naruto, who closed his eyes to concentrate as a flow of crimson energy outlined his body. With practice, our aura can be our shield. Everyone has it, even animals. What about monsters? In an explosion of energy, Naruto's aura flared and formed into a form similar to that of a version 1 Bijou Chakra cloak with long rabbit-like ears and 3 long foxtails, and his pupils turning into slits and his devil bringer turning from blue to an orange-red color. Naruto's eyes flashed as he used his devil bringer to snatch the now cooled-off Red Queen back to him and twirling it to the ground, the force burning Akidna and her chimera. No. Unlike the demons from the demon world, the creatures of Grimm we fight lack a soul, and are the manifestation of anonymity. They are the darkness, and we are the light. Giving a fanged grin, Naruto crouched down wielding Red Queen in a reverse grip, and disappeared in a blur, bounding off the trees in the blink of an eye and slicing through the chimera with ease. Right, that's why we fight them. Akidna let out a sonic roar that blew Naruto back. He retaliated by using his devil bringer to latch onto her, and reeled himself in to deliver a devastating dropkick to Akidna that planted her to the ground. Naruto then jumped off her and began to rain an endless barrage of stomps and kicks augmented by his trickster shot greaves. Akidna screamed, turning into her serpent form to break Naruto's combo. Flying up, Akidna reverted back to her humanoid form and planted her split tails completely into the ground unlike her spider form, assuming a lotus position on the ground. It's not about why, it's about knowing. Understanding dark and light helps us manifest our aura. Everyone has some of both. By bearing your soul outward as a force, you can deflect harm. All of our tools and equipment are conduits for aura. You protect yourself and your soul when fighting. Naruto rushed forward and threw Red Queen at Akidna with the spectral arm of his devil bringer. At the same time her split tails came up from the ground to skewer him. It's like a force field. Yes, if you want to look at it that way. The tails broke upon contact with Naruto's aura as Red Queen embedded itself into Akidna's chest. Naruto reeled himself in onto her pedal and revved Red Queen, making the greater demon wail in pain as a blue sphere of spiraling energy formed in his demonic arm. Time to say bye-bye, plant lady, Naruto said and drilled the sphere into her body. Devil bringer Rasengan. Ekiha screeched from the extreme pain caused by Red Queen's revving and the demonic Rasengan, and was forced to use the last bit of her energy as a burst to knock him off her, failing but managing out to cancel his devil bringer Rasengan. She then tugged herself out of the ground and took to the air to get him to fall, but Naruto dispelled his Rasengan and tried to latch onto her with his devil bringer. She countered by hair whipping him away, but growled when she felt his devil bringer on the snake part of her body. If you want to be taken for a ride that badly, then let me take you for a spin, she said as she flew higher into the middle of the air. Oh crap! Naruto yelled as he held on for dear life. Battle music fade out. Meanwhile, in another area of Emerald Forest, Ling Rin stood atop of a pair of King Taijutsu snake Grimm she has just slain. Her weapons, a pair of SMGs with axe-like blade attachments named Stormflower, slid under her sleeves as she brushed herself off until she heard a strange, animal-like nose above her. She looked up in time to see Nora hanging upside down from a tree and kiss her on the cheek before their eyes met. I still don't think that's what a sloth sounds like or does, Rin said, giggling at her friend's antics as Nora poked her on the nose. Boop, Beacon Cliff. As expected, the odd one out is Naruto. The last pair has been formed, sir, Glinda informed Ajpin as they checked the progress of the first-year students, Nora Valkyrie and Ling Rin. Poor girl, I can't possibly imagine those two getting along. Still, she and Naruto are probably better off than Miss Nikos. I don't care what his transcripts say. That John fellow is not ready for this level of combat. It's even more odd that I can't find any record of him attending a school for hunters before coming here to Beacon. Glinda noted before deactivating her tablet scroll. I guess we'll find out soon enough. At their current pace, they should reach the temple within just a few minutes. Speaking of which, what did you use as relics this year? Professor Ashbin? Ashbin didn't answer as he watched live footage of a bored Ruby sitting cross-legged on the grass picking it, and yawning while her partner Weiss paces around her in random directions. Emerald Forest, Ruby and Weiss. It's definitely this way, I mean this way. It's definitely this way, alright, it's official, we passed it. Is it really too hard to just admit that you are no idea where we're taking us? A completely annoyed and slightly ticked off Ruby asked as she kicked up. Because I know exactly where we're going. We're going to the forest temple. Weiss replied a bit lamely. Ruby facepalmed herself and growled in frustration. Oh, stop it. You don't know where we are either. This time, Ruby started punching herself on her head as her frustration increased. Hitting yourself is not helping. Well, at least I'm not pretending like I know everything, and exactly knew where we're going before you hijacked it. What's that supposed to mean? It means that you bossing me around is getting us nowhere. I'm not bossy. Don't say things like that. Then let's get back on track. The reason I was looking up at the sky was because I was using it as a compass to see if we're heading the right direction. The temple's to the north, remember? What? How does that? Of course you wouldn't know anything about that, acting like you're so perfect. Ruby said as she went to head in the right direction to the temple. I'm not perfect. Not yet, but I'm still leagues better than you. Weiss countered and pushed Ruby out of the way of her path. Ruby snapped. The next thing Weiss knew, Ruby was in front of her with crescent rose unfolded. Before she could react, Ruby slashed down at her vertically in the blink of an eye, tearing the top of her hunter outfit down the middle. Weiss screamed as she grabbed her clothes to keep them from falling apart, and sank to the ground as Ruby put away Crescent Rose. Weiss was about to verbally lash out at Ruby, but faltered when Ruby glared at her with vicious eyes. Ever since I was nearly killed by a Beowulf when I was 6 years old, I trained to become a huntress. I heard it took a kidnapping to discover that you could fight and trained afterwards. You don't even know me at all, but between the two of us, you're the one that's weak and pathetic, and I'm the one who's leagues better than you since we're miles apart in experience. If you want to pass this initiation, then pick yourself up and follow me, or you can continue to sit there and whine about your clothing like a sniveling little rich bitch. With that, Ruby turned on her heel and stormed off while putting on her headphones, ignoring Weiss' insults and shouting for her to come back. Emerald Forest, the temple. Think this is it? Yang asked as she and her partner stepped out of the bushes and into a clearing that revealed the ruins of circular stone temple with platforms holding several black and gold objects. Blake gave Yang a silent, incredulous look before giving her a small smile and headed down the hill with Yang following until they reached the temple. Chess pieces? Blake wondered upon closer inspection of the objects. Some of them are missing. Looks like we weren't the first ones here. Yang noted. Well, I guess we should pick one. Blake said with Yang nodding and looking around before approaching one of the relics. Yang eyes a golden knight chess piece and picks it up. How about a cute little pony? Sure. Blake agreed and picked up a second golden knight piece. That wasn't so hard. Yang said cheerfully as they met in the center of the temple. Well, it's not like this place is very difficult to find. Blake agreed as they shared a smile until they heard a loud, girly scream in the distance. Some girl is in trouble. Yang exclaimed as she turned towards the direction of the scream. Blake, did you hear that? Blake didn't answer as she noticed something in the sky. Meanwhile, at the Hell Gate perimeter, several people in different color armor were finishing up their demon hunting when they heard the scream in the distance. What was that? A guy in cobalt armor asked as he failed to hit a chimera with a sniper rifle. Sounds like a girl's in trouble. His teammate in pink armor said and jumped back from a chimera that tried to latch onto them. Hey now, too bad it wasn't Griff. He screams like a girl in his sleep. A gruff voice came from a guy in red armor as he used his shotgun to finish off a hatching chimera seed. Oh yeah? How would you know? A fat guy in orange armored countered before jumping away from a chimera. Wah! Whoa guys, let's not go there. The aqua armored guy said as he stabbed through a scarecrow with an energy sword. Idiots. A woman in cyan armored muttered after kicked a few chimera seeds away, with one of them nearby hitting the team's blue armored comrade, who walked into his sixth tree because his helmet was shorting out. Temple. Blake, did you hear that? Yang asked her partner again. What should we do? Blake? She turned to see Blake's bow twitching as she pointed up where she saw Ruby was falling. Heads you up. And Naruto was in the sky as well, revving his blade into the chest of a screaming Akidna again as they sped towards the ground. Yahoo! End of Chapter 4. Chapter 05. The New Rookie 9. Ruby and Weiss. Ruby! I told you this was a terrible idea. You're the one who was complaining about us not making it to the temple in time, and I improvised, so stop whining. I am so not whining. More like fearing for my life, and my top coming off thanks to you. Then you're in the wrong profession. If you fear for your life and your outfit, then you have no business becoming a huntress. I'd rather fight as a huntress to live, thank you very much. To live? Not protect everyone else in the world? You should have stayed in Atlas. I didn't mean it like that. You're failing to convince me. I'll prove it to you. Then jump. We're below the temple. Are you insane? Oh, you insufferable little red dash. Abandoned temple. Blake, did you hear that? What should we do? Blake? Yang turned to see Blake's bow twitching as she pointed up where she saw Ruby was seen falling. Heads you up. Ruby wailed, her arms flapping and flailing. She was on a crash course for the ground, until John came flying out of nowhere and crashed into her, making them both crash into a tree near Yang and Blake. Oh, what was that? Ruby groaned, dizzy-eyed as stars and grim circled around her head until she shook them off. Ahem. Ruby looked up to see John hang upside down from a tree branch above her. Hey Ruby, he greeted, making Ruby's sweat drop. Did your sister just fall from the sky? Blake questioned her dumbstruck partner. Yang started, but was interrupted by a whoop from above. Yahoo! With Red Queen skewered in Akidna, Naruto poured out his strength into his arms and sword and used them to hammer Akidna to the ground, burying her upper body in the soil. Kicking off her, he pulled Red Queen out, landed on the ground, and flicked Akidna's blood of the blade. Well, what do you know? Fertilizer for the forest. Naruto mused as he planted Red Queen in the ground and leaned on it. It suits you. Grrrr. Did Naruto just nail a greater demon into the ground? Why ha ha. Before Yang could attempt to answer her partner again, she was interrupted by several crashing noises in the forest with an Ursa coming out, arms flailing. Then, a pink bolt of energy blasted it in the back, making it collapse to ground and depositing its rider. It's broken. Iowa Nora said and observed her carcass of her prey as Rin finally caught up to her after jumping through trees and landing on the carcass. Nora! Please don't ever do that again. Rin whined and panted, and looked up to find a pink dotted outline of where her partner, and groaned when she realized that Nora's run off again. Nora. But Nora whistled as she was now in the temple, starting at a golden rook relic before swiping it, causing stars and her symbols to appear with a pink background as she dances and sings with the rook piece. I'm queen of the castle. I'm queen of the castle. Nora, he. Coming Rin. Nora called out with a salute, and skipped back to her friend and partner with the relic in hand. Did that girl just ride in on an Ursa? Jan was interrupted once again as a shrill screech is heard, and Pyrrha Nikos ran out of the forest with a Deathstalker Scorpion Grim was on her rear as it uproots loads of trees as it chased her. Pyrrha jumped and dodged its giant claws and continued running for her life. John? Pyrrha called out for her partner, hoping he fell where she is now. Pyrrha! John shouted back, glad Pyrrha has arrived. Whoa! A Deathstalker! Ruby exclaimed before running off the branch and jumping to the ground. Ruby! John whined after her. Naruto! Yang said excitedly as Naruto arrived at the temple. Still alive, Yang, Blake? Nice. Naruto greeted as Ruby landed next to him in a roll just as she arrived at the temple. Hey Rubes. Naruto. Ruby squealed and hugged him. Ruby, Yang. Ruby and Yang were about to hug when Nora shouted excitedly, coming between and knocking them off balance. As Akidna tried to get out of her predicament, the Deathstalker continued to chase Pyrrha around. Did she just run all the way here with a Deathstalker on her tail? Blake asked, this time a bit amused, due to her partner growling and getting annoyed and irritated with tin mark on her head, with Nora playfully mimicking her, before her aura erupted in a burst of fire as she eyes turned red. I can't take it anymore. Can everyone just chill out for 2 seconds before something crazy happens again? Yan yelled in absolute fury. Naruto checked his watch, counting down to 2 seconds as Yan cooled down. Rin ran over to the ditzy Nora, and Blake and Ruby looking up. Oh boy, Yang? Naruto? Ruby said, drawing Naruto's attention upward while Yang groaned in exasperation. Up in the sky, Weiss was hanging on the talon of a giant Nevermore bird Grim that she and Ruby arrived on with one arm while the other was trying to keep her torn top on and not expose herself. How could you leave me? She wailed as she hung on for dear life. I did say jump, you idiot. Ruby countered. She's gonna fall. Blake said simply. She claims she's leagues better than me, so she'll be fine. Ruby assured them sarcastically. Couldn't be further from the truth than that. Naruto snorted as they saw Weiss lost her grip on the talon. You ruined her outfit for that remark, did you? Yep. Guys, she's falling. Rin deadpanned. Meanwhile, John managed to free himself from the tree and saw Weiss falling. Grinning at his opportunity to impress her, he jumped off the branch with him arms outstretched, and caught her as tree seemed to slow down between them. Just dropping in? He asked in full Casanova mode as he smiled at her, but Weiss was speechless and looked at him like he was an idiot, with John looking confused at her reaction until they both looked down in horror. Oh God. They hugged each other wide-eyed as gravity finally took hold of them, and they fell down with their weapons flying out and following them to the ground. Oh no oomph! John landed face first and splayed out into the dirt, with Weiss landing on his back in a seated position as she checked her nails. My hero, she said mockingly. My back, John groaned. Naruto, Ruby, Yang, Blake, Rin, and even Nora's sweat dropped until Pyrrha was finally knocked away by the Deathstalker and landed on her side in front of everyone else. Having fun? Naruto asked the redhead mockingly. Welp, the gang's all here. Now we can die together. Yang declared jokingly. Oh joy is us, Rin muttered, not sharing the sentiment. Ha! We'll see about that. Ruby declared and charged at the Deathstalker with a battle cry. Yawa! Ruby, wait! Yan shouted after her. Ruby used the recoil of Crescent Rose to boost her charge towards the oncoming Deathstalker. When she was close, the Deathstalker knocked Ruby away with its claw. Ruby! Naruto shouted and ran after her as she landed on the ground. Didu, don't worry. Totally fine. Ruby called back as she got up and put a hand to her head, feeling blood as she bled from her head. She jumped when the Deathstalker shrieked at her, and retaliated by shooting it in the skull as she jumped back, using the recall as a boost to run the opposite way away from the Scorpion Grim and towards Naruto, also using her speed semblance as she did. It was then that Akidna pulled herself out of the ground and roared, activating her Devil Trigger-like mode once again. Ruby! Naruto! Look out! Yan yelled and ran after Naruto, who was blindsided by Akidna. Son of a bitch! Naruto yelled as he flew into the forest, and crashed into a tree that broke over him. Gah! Naruto! Ruby cried as the Nevermore descended and targeted her. It flapped its wings and rained down a wave of sharpened feathers with sharp quills that nearly skewered Yan and halted her advance cold, while Ruby was pinned down by her cloak, jerking her forward and sending Crescent Rose flying. The Deathstalker approached Ruby, but Akidna knocked it aside, wanting Ruby for herself to the other's horror. Your blood will make some delicious nutriment for my children, human, Akidna said, turning into her serpent form. Ruby, get out of here! Yan screamed at her sister, who was struggling with her cloak. I'm trying! Ruby shouted back after unpinning one of the snaps on her cloak, and was working on the other one. Akidna was close to chomping on her until she was knocked aside by a fire bolt from Yang's Ember Celica. Don't you touch my sister, you bitch! Yan shrieked and fired off several one that detonated on impact that forced her body out. You little slut! As Akidna targeted Yan now and went after her, she was then riddled with gunfire from Rin's Stormflower gun, Blake's Gamble Shroud in pistol mode, and Nora's grenade launcher weapon Manhild, before being pierced by Mylanite's javelin mode by Pyrrha. Meanwhile, Ruby managed to free herself of her beloved cloak and looked to escape, but failed to notice the Deathstalker flanking her and knocking her back into the feathers, causing her to cry in pain as she was cut with the feathers that tore into her outfit. Cornering its now wounded prey, the Deathstalker raised its golden stinger above Ruby and brought it down in an attempt to pierce her. Ruby! Yan screamed in distress and reached out in vain as a white blur raced past her. With nowhere to go, Ruby closed her eyes and raised her arms over her head, waiting for the pain. Yet it never came. You and Namikaze are two peas in a pod. Ruby opened her eyes to discover the Deathstalker's stinger encased in ice that trapped it where it is struggling to get free, and blinked in surprise at her unexpected savior who had one knee on the ground panted with her rapier stabbed in the ground. So difficult to get along with, totally unpredictable, and completely hyperactive, and don't even get me started on your fighting style, Weiss said as she recovered and turned to look at Ruby. And I suppose I can be a bit antisocial, but if we're going to do this, we're going to have to do this together. So if you quit trying to show off, I'll be nicer. Ruby just looked at her before shaking her head. Touché, Weiss, she said as she got up and tugged her cloak out of the quill it was pinned on. Just don't say that you'll be nicer, show it. Until then Ruby put her cloak back on and smiled brightly at Weiss. Thank you. Well, Weiss stuttered, mesmerized by her partner's bright smile as she brushed past her. Any time, no one has ever thanked me like that before. Walking out of the small forest of feathers, she noticed the Deathstalker still struggling to escape. Whoa, she muttered until she was wrapped in a bone crushing by her sister from behind. Dirk, so happy you're okay. Yang squealed as she hugged Ruby close. Don't worry, I'm fine, but let up. You're hurting me, oh wow wow. Oh, how sickening. Akidna suddenly roared as she knocked away Blake, Pyrrha, Nora, and Rin who had engaged her. You both can die together. No! Yan yelled and shielded Ruby with her body while Weiss rushed forward, but several shots rang out and Akidna let out a strangled yell of pain, causing everyone to look to see Akidna sporting holes all over her body with flames and cinders coming out of them. No, not again. Not again. I will not be defeated a third time. Akidna ranted before a loud shot interrupted her and caused her to explode that she let out one last scream. More like the last time, because I'm sealing you away for good. And by the way, Naruto said as he stepped out of the forest with Thorn and Petal in its Magnum revolver mode out after firing incendiary dust bullets empowered by the QB Twins chakra. What did Uncle Dante say again? Oh yeah, I think that look suits you better permanently, that is. Twirling Thorn and Petal on his finger, he split them apart and holstered them as a light green orb float over Akidna's body, just as Yang and Ruby crashed into him, knocking him to the ground. Ruby, Yang, I'm fine, Naruto said as his sisters held onto him tightly. Don't scare us like that again, Whiskers. It's bad enough you fighting demons like her every day. Yan scolded him and hit him on the head. Are you sure you're okay? Ruby asked as they got up. I said I'm fine, but you're not Ruby, Naruto said, gesturing to her wounds. Hold still. His three-tailed rabbit-eared aura returned as he put his normal hand on Ruby's shoulder, causing an aura similar to his to envelop Ruby's body and heal her wounds. Ruby shivered as a strange, warm feeling swam through her body until the process was finished. Just what the hell is going on? What was a demon doing here? What's that orb she left behind? What is with your aura? And what the hell is with your arm? Weiss demanded, asking each question in rapid order. My job. Naruto said simply, ignoring Weiss growling as they went to join the others at the temple. Are you guys okay? He directed the question at Blake, Pyrrha, Nora, and Rin, who had attempted to hold off Akidna, but were knocked away. We're fine. Rin responded, dusting herself off. So that was a greater demon, huh? And you managed killed her? There's more to you than meets the eye, Namikaze. How perspective. Naruto muttered, and was weirded out by Nora's continuous happy expression. Guys? That thing's circling back. What are we gonna do? John asked, pointing up at the cawing Nevermore circling around the area. Don't worry about the Nevermore, buddy. It isn't your target. The objective is right in front of us. Naruto told them, jerking his thumb at the relics. He's right. Our mission is to grab an artifact and make it back to Beacon Cliff. While I'm all for slaying them, they are not our primary concern right now. Ruby added, in other words, there's no sense in fighting those things right now. Weiss said to John directly, run and live. That's an idea I can get behind. John agreed with enthusiasm, probably because Weiss actually talked to him. Well, what are you waiting for? Jan said, holding up hers and Blake's golden knight piece while Nora's and Rin's golden rook piece was resting on Nora's head. Ruby and John nodded and went to go retrieve a relic for themselves and their partners. You know, Whiskers, what you did to that demon was pretty hot, if you know what I mean. Yang, that pun was way too obvious. Yang pouted and looked around. By the way, where's your partner? Don't have one. Naruto shrugged as Ruby returned with a golden knight and John with a golden rook, the same ones taken by Yang, Blake, Nora, and Rin. I was busy with the she-viper, so I'm the odd one out. Hey Naruto, is your arm glowing? John asked, pointing at Naruto's Devilbringer. Looking like it. It looks like it's reacting to the artifact Ajban and Good Witch left for me. The Devilbringer glowed brighter when he reached the temple, and looked around until he found a removable stone stab with his Yuzushio crest on it that was freshly carved. He removed it to find a gauntlet with a blue-green jewel, and was taken aback when the jewel's lid blinked. So, it still exists. Kagaya's voice rang through Naruto's mind. I thought it was lost in the sands of time. Do you know what this is, Kagaya? Naruto questioned the rabbit goddess. Something to help you in your fight against the demons. Grab it with your Devilbringer, and it will absorb it like it did with the evil legacy you found in Mountain Glen and that Sephirothic fruit you found in Forever Fall Forest. Naruto nodded and retrieved the gauntlet from the stone box with this Devilbringer hand as the others came over looked over his shoulder. What is that? Ruby asked as Naruto stood up and turned to them. I don't know. Ajban said that it was connected to me in some way. He was cut off when his Devilbringer glowed, with the gauntlet in his hands fading into light before being absorbed into his Devilbringer. Then, the Devilbringer gained the same orb that gauntlet had with the lid that blinked over the orb. That's so cool. Nora said in awe as she hopped around looking at Naruto's Devilbringer from all angles. I think I saw that arm and that gauntlet in a story once. How does he have it? Rin wondered. Kagaya, what did I just gain? Naruto asked slowly. You better not have screwed me over. What do you take me for, stupid? Of course I haven't. What you absorbed is the ancient Oni gauntlet, created by the power of the 12 Oni gods of old. It's one of the last remaining one that hasn't been swept away by the passage of time. With it, you can absorb demon souls and the essence of Grimm to give your weapons and abilities a boost in power, and you can also use it to store your devil arms until you need them. Try it on Akidna's soul. With the devil arm ability you gain from Sparta's bloodline, you can turn her into a weapon, as well as enhance the elemental jutsu of whatever nature she's associates with. Huh. Guess it's worth a shot. Naruto walked over to Akidna's soul and raised his Devilbringer. The orb on his Devilbringer activated its absorbing effect and drew Akidna's soul into it. A bright light then surrounded him, making the others shield their eyes. When it dispersed, they saw Naruto holding what appears to be dual scaly chakrams with thorns on the blades. Giving it a few test swings on some nearby trees, he found that the chakrams can turn into whips with the blades separating and the thorns grow and sharpen to the will, and slice the trees and find logs with style. So, I am once again enslaved to a Sparta. What rotten luck. Akidna's voice rang through Naruto's head. Fine then. I shall assist you to the best of my capabilities whenever you choose to wield me. Whoa. Why are you acting so nice all of a sudden? Naruto asked the she-devil, a complete 180 from that you were acting like before. It's not a trick if that's what you're thinking. You have bested me in battle, despite the interferences from your friends, which makes you my better, and since you said that you were going to seal me permanently, I have a feeling that we'll be stuck together from now until the end of time. With me you have complete control over my devil arm form, your Mokutan is enhanced, and are more attuned with nature. You can also summon and control my chimera children, if you so desire. We'll train together with those new abilities and enhancements later. Until then, welcome aboard. And Akidna? Yes? Thank you. And sorry for those insults I hurled your way. It was just battle strategy. I'm sure you're beautiful in your own exotic way. Akidna was taken aback by Naruto's words. She thought all Sparta were a bunch of assholes, but this one was different. He thanked her, apologized to her, and complimented her, and they were all sincere with no malice. Maybe it won't be so bad being stuck to him after all. Thank you. Just let me know if you need anything. Akidna replied and flew through Naruto's mindscape to meet the other residents inside. Naruto smiled then frowned when he felt a bump on his shin, knocking him back into the real world, seeing Weiss hop up and down holding her foot, swearing profusely. I told you that was a bad idea. Ruby deadpanned. Sorry, what did I miss? Naruto asked while trying not to laugh at Weiss. When she kicked him, it was like kicking the side of a jagged mountain. Not fun. The Deathstalker's about to get free. It's time we left. Rin told them. Right then. Let's move, Naruto said and waved to the others. Right behind you, Ruby declared and followed him with the others. As the others, even Weiss who ignored the pain in her foot from kicking Naruto, followed after them, Yang stayed behind smiling as Blake approached her. What is it? Yang didn't answer as she stared proudly at Ruby, who leapt on a boulder and motions for the group to keep up the pace. Nothing. Yang answered and raced after the group, with Blake now smiling after her before following. Abandoned ruins, Naruto, Ruby, Weiss, Blake, Yang, John, Pira, Nora, and Rin ran out of the forest and into a series of ruined structures as the Nevermore tailed them from the air. The group spread out and took cover behind some stone pillars as the Nevermore perched on a high column in front of them and cawed loudly. Well, that's just great, Yang complained. It's about to get worse, Naruto stated as the Deathstalker burst from the trees behind the group. Ah man, run! John yelled. Everyone bolted from their covers as the Nevermore rose up into the air when it saw them scattering. Nora, distract it, Rin said as they moved. Nora obliged and ran as the Nevermore fired off its feather projectiles. She ducked and leapt over them, bringing out her mangled grenade launcher and fired on the Nevermore, hard-topped shells bursting into pink electricity upon impact, causing it to retreat. The Deathstalker came up behind her and attacked, but failed to hit its target as Blake and Rin performed a cross-slash that knocked its claws off course as Naruto and Weiss grabbed Nora and used the glyph to boost themselves, away from the Deathstalker that was now chasing Blake and Rin. Go, go! Pira said to John, fired upon the Deathstalker as Rin landed next to her, and started firing too until Blake leapt forward as the Deathstalker took a swipe at them, but missed as they ran. The 9 hunters in training raced across the bridge until the Nevermore reappeared and rammed into the bridge, shattering it and separating the group, trapping Blake, Rin, and Pira with the Deathstalker and Ruby, Weiss, Yang, Nora, and John cut off from them on the other side of the bridge. Naruto however found himself on the back of the Nevermore hanging on. Here we go again, Naruto groaned to himself as he summoned Akidna and wrapped its whip form around the Nevermore neck to control it. Back on the bridge, the Deathstalker as Pira knocked Blake back and Rin continued to keep it back with gunfire. Man, we gotta get over there. They need help, John said, seeing the other struggle with the Scorpion Grim as Nora ran off beside him. Let's do this, she said, readying her manhild. Yeah, but I can't make that jump, John said as he looked down at the abyss below. Nora grinned diabolically at him before knocking him back with manhild. She then shifted her weapon from grenade launcher into a giant full-length hammer, and hopped to the edge of the break in the bridge. No, wait! John wailed, seeing what she was about to do, but too late as she slammed manhild into the edge of the bridge that catapulted him to the other side screaming, no, 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 no and oh. Without losing her smile, Nora hopped on her hammer and fired it off the collapsing bridge, riding it through the air before slamming it on the head of the Deathstalker's skull as John landed on the ground. The Deathstalker retaliated with its stinger, causing Nora to fire her weapon, using its recoil to avoid it, but accidentally bumped into a recovering Blake and making her fall from the edge. Your other right, you stupid bird! Naruto yelled as she steered the Nevermore towards a falling Blake, who fired her gamble shroud into the edge of the bridge while using her ribbon to swing away. Naruto was then forced to ditch the Nevermore as it flew dangerously close under the bridge, jumping off it and onto the bridge with John, Nora, Pira, and Rin as Blake managed to get onto the Nevermore back. She ran across its back, slashing with her blade and sheath, before jumping off and landing on the ruined platform at the top of the columns next to Ruby, Yang, and Weiss. It's tougher than it looks, she told them. Then let's hit it with everything we got, Yang declared as she readied her Ember Celica. Cue battle theme, Red Like Rose Part 2, Episode 8 Mix, by Casey Lee Williams. Ruby, Weiss, Blake, and Yang prepared their weapons' long-range modes as the Nevermore dived towards them, and fired a barrage of beams and bolts at the bird Grim that barely affected it. It dive-bombed into the columns and platform, throwing chunks of stone everywhere, with the 4 girls using them to hop off them in various ways, with Ruby jumping off a stone and using the recoil of her crescent rose, Weiss using her glyphs to boost herself up, Blake using the ribbon with her gamble shroud and running up a pillar, and Yang using the recoil of Ember Celica and punching the stone pieces at the same time to reach the higher bridge above. None of this is working, Weiss complained as Ruby analyzed her surroundings. She saw Naruto with John, Pira, Nora, and Rin facing down the Deathstalker, Blake reaching the bridge, and Yang firing round after round at the Nevermore, before grinning at Weiss. What? Weiss asked, confused, before Ruby pulled out a needle and some thread from her pack. What are you? The next thing Weiss knew, Ruby fixed up her outfit so it wouldn't fall apart before grabbing her arm. I have a plan. Come on, she said, grabbing her by her arm and hopped over to the next bridge. Back with Naruto and the others, the Deathstalker roared at them. Let's get it, Naruto said and rushed at it with the others following. The Deathstalker attacked with a lunge of its claw, but was deflected by Pira's shield Akuo and was slashed with Milo. The Grim reeled back and attacked with its other claw, but John blocked it with Naruto blasting it with a stinger to its face just as Pyrrha struck it in the face as well. She hopped to the side as Naruto jumped back and unleashed Thorn and Petal on the Deathstalker with Rin running forward and firing upon it. The Deathstalker lashed out with its stinger, with Rin sidestepping it and grabbed onto it, shooting it at the base of its stinger, while Naruto continued peppering the Scorpion Grim with rapid-fire dust bullets with Nora joining in on the action, firing her grenades at it. Pyrrha hurled Milo in javelin mode straight one of its eyes, making its roar in pain as it whipped Rin to the side as she lost her grip. Rin! Nora cried out as Rin hit the stone pillar herd and falls to the ground in a heap, groaning and unmoving. Is she okay? John asked as Naruto swore. Shit, Naruto muttered and noticed the Deathstalker's stinger hanging limply from its tail. Pyrrha, tail. Done! She responded and hurls a code discus style, slicing the Deathstalker's stinger off that fell and stuck itself into the head of its owner, as Pyrrha's shield returned to her. Nora, hammer time! Naruto commanded Pyrrha boost her. Heads up! Nora yelled as Pyrrha got into position in front of her. Nora hopped onto a ko, firing onto it as Pyrrha leapt up, giving Nora an extra boost into the air. The Deathstalker stuck at a defenseless Pyrrha, but Naruto got in the way, taking her place and saving her from being backlawed. Naruto! Pyrrha yelled as he was sent flying away. Oh no, we're doomed! John wailed. Meanwhile, Nora sat on the handle of Manghild's hammer mode, smiling and laughed until she reached the maximum height she could reach, before quickly firing her hammer down, using the recoil to speed down and twirl in the air before slamming her hammer down, driving the stinger down into the Deathstalker's head and crushing the bridge beneath it. Pyrrha grabbed John and threw him over the doomed Deathstalker before leaping over it herself. Nora firing away and used the recoil to safely hop away as the rest of the bridge crumbled apart with the Scorpion Grim falling into the abyss. The hunters in training managed to get away, with John landing back first. Nora lands on her rear, Pyrrha lands in a crouched pose reminiscent of a member of Team Bloodgutch, and Rin simply wobbled over to them, panting and groaning until she collapsed into Nora, who shifted herself so she could fall into her lap. Back with Naruto, he flipped into the air as he ended up in the flight path of the Nevermore as it dodged Yang's blasts, as she burned through her ammo. Materializing a crimson-colored glyph, he hopped off it and drove Red Queen into the back of the Nevermore just as it was about to dive bomb into Yang. It screeched, allowing Yang to jump into its maw and force its beak open as she fired rounds into the bird Grim's mouth. I hope you're hung dash. Gry. She screamed as she fired a round with each syllable. Looking behind her, she jumps back into the ruin while Naruto used the Rasengan on the back of the Nevermore, boosting himself off and used his chakra chains to reel himself up on the cliff above, causing the Nevermore to crash into the wall of the cliff. The bird Grim recovered quickly and screeched as Yang smirked and retreated, passing Weiss as she glided forward. The Nevermore tried to take flight, but Weiss jumped forward and stabbed the tip of Murdernaster into its tail, freezing it on place and preventing the flapping Nevermore from getting away. Weiss then backflip into her snowflake symbol glyph and lands back to the group. From the cliff, Naruto observed the girls enacting Ruby's plan. On a pillar, Blake fired Gamble Shroud in pistol mode over to the adjacent pillar where Yang caught it and stabbed it into her pillar. With Blake still holding on to the ribbon, the two partners tightened it between the columns as Ruby jumped onto it while sitting on Crescent Rose the same way Nora sat on Manghilde in the air, and bend the ribbon back next to Weiss, who had a white glyph that turned black when Ruby jumped into it. Of course you would come up with this idea, Weiss said. Think you can make the shot? Ruby asked, not taking her eyes off the struggling Nevermore. Can I? Weiss countered confidently. Ruby just looked at her with a deadpan expression, tapping her finger on Crescent Rose and not looking to entertain Weiss' overconfident response, something that Weiss was able to sense when Ruby didn't respond for a few seconds. Okay, I can. Stop looking at me like that. Weiss relented irritably, making Ruby smile at her and look back at the Nevermore. As Weiss released Ruby, Ruby pulled Crescent Rose's trigger, launching her with such speed that it cracked the ground with rose petals flying from her ascent. Ruby continued shooting, using the recoil to boost herself towards the trapped Nevermore, until the blade caught into the Nevermore's neck and they both slammed into the cliff wall. Weiss then raised Murdernaster and materialized a line of glyphs up the wall, which Ruby used to stick to the wall and run along the wall by firing all the way up while yelling. Naruto, Yang, Blake, Weiss, who was exhausted, John, Pyrrha, Nora, and Rin watched in amazement as she wall ran up the cliff with the Nevermore still caught in Crescent Rose's blade until she reached the cliff. Circling up, she fired one last shot, and cleaved the Nevermore's head clean off its shoulder in a shower of rose petals. Ruby flipped in the air and landed in Naruto's arms as the bird Grimm's severed head crashed next to them, off with its head. Naruto said, looking at the severed head and then at Ruby, "Nice one, Ruby." Battle music fade out. Thanks, Naruto, but it wasn't just me. Ruby said as Naruto put her down and watched the Nevermore's headless body crash into the ground below. I have you, Yang, Blake, and Weiss to thank. I admit, even I would have had trouble fighting that Nevermore by myself. Now I know why we're given partners at Beacon. Glad you figured it out in this battle, Ruby. Seems like I won't have to worry about you soloing anytime soon. Naruto commented as rose petals flew around them. Going solo is the furthest from my mind right now, Ruby thought as she blushed at Naruto, especially when you're by my side. A little while later, all 9 hunters in training met at the entrance to the ruins. That was incredible, Ruby. John praised while inwardly vowing to get at her level. Well, that was a thing. Yang commented, making Naruto and Ruby sweat drop. A thing? What does that even mean? Weiss asked. Never mind, don't answer that. More useless banter, I guess. Hard for you to be happy about anything, even a win, right? Blake asked in amusement. What do you expect? She's one cold princess. Naruto said, shrugging. More like Yang started before putting on her aviators. Weiss cold. Yeah. Nora suddenly added loudly. Everyone sniggered, even Blake and Rin, while Weiss did not look amused by the pun made at her expense. Well, I guess we better head back. We got what we needed. Pyrrha stated. You guys go on ahead. I have some unfinished business to take care of. Naruto said and walked away from the group. Unfinished business? Like what, Whiskers? Yang asked. You remember Akidna's a greater demon, right? She came from a hell gate that here in Emerald Forest. It needs demolishing before anyone surprises comes through it. Naruto replied with a hand wave before speeding away. A hell gate here? Weiss asked in shock. Now this I gotta see. Ruby declared and went after Naruto. Wait up, I wanna see too. Nora squealed in excitement, and took off after Naruto and Ruby. Nora, wait! Rin shouted before groaning and took off after her. Mao, guy, we don't have time for this. We need to get back. Weiss shouted after them. Then we make time. You can stay if you want. Blake said before she and Yang took off too. I can escort you back if you want, Snow Angel. John offered to Weiss, who growled. I'll take my chances. She said before sprinting off to the others. John moaned before Pyrrha hoisted him up on her shoulder before taking off after the others. Hell Gate. Well, look who's still alive and kicking. We thought you were a goner when that demon lady took you for a ride, the cobalt-colored armored guy said as Naruto appeared from the trees. She was tougher than I expected, so bite me, church. Naruto countered. Are all the small fry dealt with? More or less. Just need for you to destroy the Hell Gate since you have the power to accomplish such a task. Washington said. How you can be the only one in the world that can destroy this big old black slab and not a bunch of old-fashioned explosives is beyond me. The gruff red armored guy grumbled. Shocking, considering it's you, Sarge. Then again, not shocking at all. Naruto replied. Griff still alive? And Caboose? I'm still blinded. Naruto sighed as he saw the blue-armored guy that was Caboose walking around like a ghost with his hands. Sadly, both of them continue to breath along us. Sarge said. Don't worry, sir. There's always a next time. A maroon-armored guy assured him. Up yours, Simmons. Griff countered. Just another day at the office, as you can see for yourself, young Padawan. Tucker said, with Naruto rolling his eyes, whatever he said before walking to the Hell Gate as his fellow hunters arrived. Holy crap. A bunch of hot babes at 12 o'clock. How do I look? Tucker asked quickly, trying to look cool. Como un idiota, T. pedophilo. A brown-armored guy said sarcastically. Whoa, hold on. I ain't no pedophile, Lopez. I know they're from Beacon. Tucker said. Oh please. You know young girls these days have boobies the size of cantaloupes. Maybe even watermelons. Church scoffed. Not the best way to make an impression, you guys, talking about women's breasts. Washington muttered as the hunters came up to them. Oh my gosh, it's Team Blood Gulch. Can I have your autographs? Please, 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 Ruby squealed as she bounced around them chibified. All right, calm down, Little Red Hiding Hood. Simmons. Get my pad and pen. Sarge ordered. Yes, sir. Simmons compiled and rummaged around his bag for said items. Kiss ass. Griff muttered under his breath. Idiots. Weiss agreed under her breath as well, though she included Griff in the mix too. Is Carolina with you? Pyrrha suddenly asked. Nope. She actually left early. Girl stuff probably. Church replied. Why? It's just been a while since I saw my cousin. Pyrrha admitted, surprising everyone, especially Team Blood Gulch. As some of Team Blood Gulch started hounding Pyrrha with question about their teammate, Naruto arrived at the Hell Gate, gave it a once-over, and noticed a bright orb floating on a panel in front of him. It's an organic devil arm. It's made of organic devilish metal. Akidna informed her new master. Let me guess, it powers the Hell Gate. Kurami piped up, which means that with each Hell Gate I destroy, I get some new toys. Naruto said and reached out and grabbed the orb with his upgraded Devil Bringer, one down. In Naruto's demonic hand, the orb glowed and enveloped him, drawing everyone's attention to his direction. Arg! What's that idiot doing now? Weiss complained, making Ruby step on her foot. Could it be another devil arm? Rin wondered over Weiss yelping as the light died down. Naruto was still there, wearing his new organic steel devil arms that consisted of a set of gauntlets, greaves with buzzsaws on the soles, a mask, and back armor in the shape of butterfly wings, with the veins between the metal constantly changing from red to violet, and violet to red. Flicking his arms, a set of small stinger drills with thrusters popped out of the gauntlets, as the name of the devil arm came into his mind. Gilgamesh, he thought, grinning under the mask as the stingers retreated back into his gauntlets as he turned around. Sweet. Let me guess. You're going to destroy this Hellgate in the most stylish way. Like your Uncle Dante before you. Kaguya guessed sarcastically. Maybe, maybe not. Why you really care that badly, Kaguya? Naruto asked darkly. It's best that you don't show off that much, and you should be your own person instead of being like your devilish ancestors. Kaguya admitted, making Naruto scowl. You're my ancestor too, you know. Naruto reminded her. Are you telling me to be more like you and less like Grandpa Sparta? You still think of me an idiot, don't you? No. We'll talk later. Naruto growled, cutting the connection and clenching his fist. I thought we were past this, Kaguya. It's like you don't believe in me. What more must I do to gain your damn approval and prove I'm not like the other power-hungry, arrogant humans? Had he kept the connection open, she would have heard the bijou hitting Kaguya on the head, earning her multiple lumps. Opening his palm, he created a large crimson-colored Rasengan that radiated his anger before plunging it into the Hell Gate. The others watched in amazement as the Rasengan traveled up to the Hell Gate like a vine, while becoming unstable, until it engulfed the Hell Gate and shattered it into pieces. Drawing back his leg, he kicked a long piece of slab into the air that skewered all of the other pieces until it came back down from the weight. Now drawing back his fist, he unleashed a devastating uppercut that turned the pieces of the Hell Gate into powder that left behind several different colored orbs that were then absorbed into the new jewel of Naruto's Devil Bringer. Anyway, 2 to go. Naruto said to himself and stored Gilgamesh into his Devil Bringer. Wonder if Kaguya's still on her eternal period though? I am not. Kaguya shrieked after forcibly reopening the connection. Sorry for being a bitch. Happy? A little, since you still believe little in me. And just for that. Okay Naruto, not funny. You can stop now OWW. Was trapping her a field of mousetrap necessary Naruto-kun? Kiyomi said until he threw her a mental look. Shutting up now. That was amazing Naruto. Yan said as everyone came up to him. Any way you can mass-produce those devil arm thingies? Think of the mass destruction and mayhem we can unleash on those Grimm and demons. Sarge commented. Not happening if it is possible. Naruto replied with a glare before saying loudly, and if anyone attempts to force me, then it simply means that I get to try out some new tricks I learned from the lunatic psycho of a teacher. Naruto fellow hunter trainees were confused by who he meant, but Team Blood Gulch wasn't, as they knew the same person he was referring to was on their team as well, which is why they all flinched. On second thought, this old trusty shotgun of mine will do quite nicely. Sage relented. Yeah, unless you get a huge box of explosives for Christmas. Griff muttered under his breath. Tell me about it. Church agreed. 2 shotgun blasts went off, followed by a simultaneous, son of a bitch, no wonder my family never hired them. Weiss mused while Naruto scoffed, knowing other multiple reasons why as faint sounds of an audience clapping are heard, among other things. Beacon Academy, Amphitheater, Nighttime, Russell Thrush. Carden Winchester. Dove Bronzewing. Skylark. The 4 of you retrieved the Black Bishop pieces. From this day forward, you will work together as Team CRDL, Cardinal, led by Carden Winchester. The Beacon Academy initiation is over, and everyone is gathered to see which first-year pairs are going to team up with each other. After a few teams were formed, almost everyone figured out that the pairs that chose the same color pieces would be together. The audience clapped some more as the newly christened Team CRDL departed the stage as 4 more students walked onto the stage and took their places in front of Ashbin as their faces filled the screen above them. John Arc Lyran. Pira Nikos. Nora Valkyrie. The 4 of you retrieved the White Rook pieces. From this day forward, you will work together as Team JNPR, Juniper, Ashbin declared. As the audience clapped, Nora laughs and gives a startled Rin a hug. Led by John Arc. Huh? Led by? John repeated in shock. Congratulations, young man. I know you will do great, and make a fine leader. Ashbin praised him with a smile. John stuttered until a grinning Pira accidentally knocked him down with a friendly shoulder bump. He landed on his rear with the audience laughing until Pira helped him up and they left the stage with their new fellow teammates, as final 5 students arrived on stage. And finally, Blake Belladonna. Ruby Rose. Weiss Schnee. Yan Xiaolong. The 4 of you retrieved the White Knight pieces. Now due to an odd numbers of student this year, you 4 will have an extra teammate, and that teammate is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Ruby and Yan looked as if Christmas and their birthdays all came at once, while Weiss had a look of horror on her face, and Blake had a smirk on her face as Naruto joined them on the stage. From this day forward, you will work together as Team Ruby. Led by Ruby Rose. As every applauded, Weiss looked at her partner surprised, while Ruby was in shock, not knowing what to think. Nice going, Ruby. You'll do great. Naruto said as he put his arm around her for a one-armed hug, while Yan hugged her completely. I'm so proud of you, she cried, hugging her close. It looks like things are shaping up to be an interesting year. Unknown location. In a large, empty, abandoned warehouse where his operations were currently held, Roman Torchwick ended a conversation on his scroll cell and slammed it down on the table, sighing. He lit a cigar and smoked it as a man in a gray mask and black hood came with a cart. Roman then pulls out some lean and placed it on the table for the masked man of the White Fang to take. Open it, he requested. The masked man complied and opened the box with a crowbar, revealing a large amount of dust crystals of varying colors such as red, yellow, blue, orange, green, cyan, white, gold, and more. Roman picked one up and throws it up and down. We're gonna need more men, he noted as he turned to a map above the desk showing Vale, and various districts and areas of crossed-out locations, all leading into a specially circled place, beacon, and more men you will have. Roman looked over his shoulder at the speaker, whom the masked man then gave a short bow to. He is a tall man with brown hair dyed with red streaks and spiked upwards, with his face covered by his white mask with red markings, and wearing a long-sleeved black trench coat with a rose design on the back over a red top, black gloves, a black belt with domino marks, long black pants and black shoes with red on the soles. Mr. Adam Taurus. Pray tell, what news do you bring? Roman asked while eyeing the sheathed sword in Adam's hand. Did that trip of yours go well? The whole of Elementia has been subjugated, but the mist still remains, and its new leader is looking to open dialogue with us. It would appear that our common enemy might become a future ally should we play our cards right with them. Adam informed him. Do tell. So what or who do they want? They want Namikaze. We bring him to them, they work their little magic on him, and the success of your mistress' plan will be nothing but a foregone conclusion. Now why would they want him of all people? Sure, he may be a devil hunter, but surely someone more valuable. It would seem that Namikaze holds something interesting in his body. A force of nature only his body can contain that they claim belonged to them. The new leader of Elementia assured us that he can be controlled through their jutsu, they call it. He'll be nothing more than puppet for all of us to use. Is that so? That does sound interesting. Roman and Adam looked over towards the new feminine voice and saw her burning golden eyes glowing and her two teammates flanked behind her. If it is true, then in the end, Naruto will be the one who will be our personal puppet, not the other way around. End of chapter 5. What if Naruto has shinigami powers in Ruby? And thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoyed this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel, and leave a like if you guys need the next part. Comment down, and thanks for watching the video, and see you guys in the next video.